Hey everyone, welcome to Indie Game Club. We're so excited to have you all here today. My name is Michael Zhitkov, the founder and executive director of Potions and Pixels, nonprofit based out of beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. Whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, we really appreciate you all being here with us live today. We got 4 amazing games to talk about, and of course, I'm joined with 4 other amazing individuals who, if you're a regular viewer of our show, you should know them well. We have our little indie game family here. We got our fun little dynamic, and of course, we want your participation in the conversation as well. So everybody, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, go ahead and jump in that chat. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know what you think about the games we're discussing. And we're going to be, we're super excited to be doing a game giveaway. Actually, the first game we'll be talking about Speed Limit, which we'll be talking about soon. Thanks to the awesome developers and publishers there, we're going to be giving out 1 copy on Steam. So we're super excited to be discussing that. Hey, Cammie. Hey, Connor. Thank you so much for jumping in. Hey, Matt. Appreciate everybody. If you're not following us already, please do so. If you like deep discussions on indie games like this and all sorts of other great content, make sure to check us out. And definitely check out our website, potionsandpixels.com, and all of our awesome social media. Let's go ahead and introduce our awesome guests here. I think we should start off. You know, normally, Tony, you're last, but you've been off for a couple weeks. I think we need to start with you right now. Let's
No pressure.
No pressure, Tony. You're back. Let's start with you. You're on mute, Tony. You've been a few weeks. It's okay.
There you go. All right. Hey guys, my name's Tony Tiger90. Go by Tony for short. Definitely love being here at Indie Game Club. I guess what people would say, I'm a big retro gamer. I was actually snowed into Buffalo, New York. So yeah, I'm from Buffalo, Buffalonian. Let's go Bills. And when I was snowed into Buffalo, New York, actually what I was playing a lot of was Halo Master Chief Collection,
Nice.
And then Diablo 3. I was actually playing it remote, so I was using the hotel Wi-Fi to use like remote play. And yeah, man, just really loving it. I think a little portion of me playing the Diablo 3 was sort of like sticking it to those guys who don't want to release a real Diablo. You know what I mean? And no, I was so if anybody saw, I watched BlizzCon. If anybody saw that, I was actually in the chat, and I ain't gonna lie, I was trolling. Hey, is it gonna have some controller support? Is that mobile game gonna have controller? And it finally addressed me, and then they were like, no, it's not. And then I was like, oh, okay, well then I'm gonna get the game for $20 on Xbox, and I'm just gonna remote play that bitch, right? Oh, excuse me.
All good. Oh, you know, Tony. It's totally fine.
So that's essentially what I've been doing. But
yeah.
And then also, I mean, I ended up double dipping for it. So my 3 top Nintendo Switch games, changing gears, is Ys 8, I would say Diablo 3, and Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. Yeah, those are all ports. That's a whole nother discussion. I have no qualm with that. But yeah, I'm a big Diablo 3 fan. Played like several seasons of that. Actually decided to replay the story because Diablo 2 is coming out on console. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me replay Diablo 3, get the story, and then go back to Diablo 2. But definitely, anybody want to hit me up? It's Tony Tiger90. You can actually hit me up on Xbox right now. I'm really heavy over there. I like to say, like, hey, here's my friend code that you can find somewhere on my Facebook, or I don't know. I'm not going to repeat that out. but yeah, Tony Tiger90, you should be able to find me everywhere. And always, I like to close it out and say that, hey, my name's Tony, and I like to play video games.
Love it. So glad to have you back on the show, Tony. Let's clap it up. Wherever you're at right now, you need to be clapping. Even if you're alone in a room looking at a computer or a phone or whatever, we want you clapping. Let's keep that energy translated across the internet here. Legend, let's move it on over to you. Can you let folks know who you are and where they can find you? And I'll drop your link in the chat.
So I'm Legend of the Star. I play indies. I'm also a member of the Gaming Goddesses, the Athena Alliance. I'm the Goddess of Indies. You can usually find me on my channel Tuesdays through Fridays around 10:30 p.m. To about 2 a.m. I try to stream as long as I possibly can. Weekends are going to be sort of bonus streams. But all I do is play indies, a variety of them. So if you guys have any indie suggestions, feel free to hit me up. Legend of the Star on Twitter, Instagram, and also on Facebook.
Love it. Awesome. Let's clap it up for Legend of the Star. I dropped that info in the chat. Make sure you're following these awesome folks. They do such awesome content. I love that you have the late night streams, Legend, because it's like no matter what, if I'm in the nighttime getting some work done, I'm like, man, Legend's on here doing some awesome stuff. All right, let me pull this up on a tab here.
Thank you. Yeah, playing a dope ass indie as usual. What fire content?
I love it. Speaking of late night streamers, let's move it on over to Angelic Layla. Layla, can you let folks know who you are and where they can find you?
I probably put my mic down so you can hear me. You can find me on Twitch, Angelic_Layla. I play usually Shinobi Striker, but we're looking into doing some more things here soon. I'm also on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. I'm also a goddess as well, the goddess of duality for the Athena Alliance, and ambassador for the game Hers. And then here on Potions and Pixels every Thursday. So thank y'all for having me. Appreciate y'all.
Always, always. Let's clap it up for Angelic Layla. Thank you as always for being here. Really appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, we got my man Dirigitive. Dirigitive, dropping your info right here in the chat now. Let folks know who you are and where they can find you.
All right, I'm Dirigitive. I stream obscure games, your overlooked and underrepresented, those deep cuts. So if you want to see something you'll never probably see again. I mean, okay, I say that. I want people to see it again because I want these games to get bigger. Check out my channel. It's twitch.tv/Dirigitive. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, PlayStation Network, same thing, Dirigitive. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Dirigitive. We really appreciate you. Let's clap it up, everyone. And we're super excited because this first game that we're going to be talking about was actually one that Dirigitive was in touch with the developers and publishers for. So without further ado, let's jump straight into that. That is the game you see right here called Speed Limit. And I want to give a special shout out because I see in the Twitch chat that the developers, GameChuck, are in the building. So we always clap it up for developers. Really appreciate you being here. Definitely jump in that chat. And we also want to say we thank and appreciate them for providing us all with keys. We played it on various platforms. I know Tony played it on Switch. Dirigitive, I think you were on, PS4 you played it on?
I played on PS5.
Oh, yeah. PS5, sorry. And then the rest of us played it on PC. And as we said, we are super excited and appreciative of them that they provided us. We have an additional key that we'll be giving away to one lucky winner here. And you know, the rules are really simple, folks. We always just like to have, as we did last week and previous weeks, we love when you guys come into the conversations, throw in whatever, questions, comments, concerns, humor. We're just going to randomly choose somebody that throws in a really good comment in there, and you will be selected to win a copy of this game. So let me give a description of this game before we get into it. And we should say this game just dropped. Just dropped on PC, Xbox, PS4, and Switch, starting with February 17th. Hey, thank you, Mystic. Appreciate you so much. Coming through with the bits. Appreciate you. Really, that is very nice of you. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the chat as well. Really appreciate you there. Let me hit you all up with the summary of Speed Limit here. So Speed Limit is a non-stop genre-warping arcade experience that never slows down. No cuts, no lapses in the chaos. Speed Limit is an old-school action extravaganza boiled down to its core elements. Hard, fast, addictive. All right, panel. Let's jump right into it. I think we should start with Dirigitive since he was the first to play this and first to, and I guess he's probably a little bit too humble to brag, but I think among the five of us, his death stats are probably the best. Dirigitive, can you let folks know who are watching what we're looking at here with Speed Limit?
Yeah, so with Speed Limit, it's, as I said, it warps genres very, very frequently. Each level, you're constantly, it's not an infinite runner by any stretch of the imagination, but you better be moving because it's one-hit kills with everything. And if you get hit, you're knocked back to your checkpoint. So it is very unforgiving in that sense, but you feel so good when you get past that part. And around I think it's around every 2 levels, it goes and seamlessly switches to another style. So you may have seen, you've got the train that you're running across, and then from the train, I think you go right to, if I remember correctly, it was a car.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you jump from the train into a car. The camera swoops over, and you're in a different view, and it is fantastic. Every time it happened, my jaw would drop, and you have to quickly adjust to that new setting.
Yeah, that's a great descriptor there. And to me, this game is kind of like, reminds me of like when I was younger, the ultimate style of game. Like, do you guys remember how crazy it was when a game, just even the idea that you can drive in a game, like that there's like different multiple kind of genres within a game that you can get in vehicle. You can do this.
Yeah.
It like blew your mind. And this game truly, as the description said, is non-stop action. Non-stop. There is no time to breathe. It is unforgiving, but unforgiving in a way that, as Derivative said, that's like that satisfying way. When you finally nail that run, when you finally beat that level, it's like that true feeling of satisfaction that you get. And as you guys can see with the trailer there, and as Derivative described, you're nonstop switching between shooting, driving, getting in a helicopter, motorcycle. There is a lot going on. I know I looked at some developer interviews, and they were talking about kind of making like an 80s action movie, John Wick style game that captures that feeling. And I feel like this captures that so well. And this is, to me, is also like, seems like the ultimate kind of speed running game for people to try, because I certainly died a lot. I think a lot of us did.
And the death animations are phenomenal.
They are great.
Yeah.
There are so many different ones for like just the case of like you're on top of the train and one of those what are they called? The little signs that's in the way that you either duck or you jump over. There's like ones like if it gets just your head, if you go slam right into it, it like some of them just like maybe burst out laughing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they were so unexpected.
Yeah. Legend, I know we were talking about this before the show, and you were talking about that fun little rage emotion that comes through as you're playing games like this. You want to talk about your experiences here with Speed Limit?
It was hard. Okay.
Did you put it on easy?
Easy mode. It was hard. I was like,
oh,
easy mode, because you guys wrote, like, I was there and I was actually participating in the message, right? And on our little thing. And I heard you guys say, Georgia was like, just do easy, because if you do like anything else, it's going to be even harder. And I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. I thought that.
Easy was hard.
Right?
Yeah.
I was mistaken. Like, I'm just like, honestly, I'm glad that I did not stream this game, because my death counter would have been through the roof. And I have to type those deaths in manually. Like, this isn't like some auto death. I'd have to go like add death, and then I'd have to add death 1.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was insane. I did enjoy the challenge, though, I have to say. Like, for me personally, it probably isn't a game that I would normally play. It's just sort of isn't in my personal wheelhouse. But as a content creator, I was really intrigued by how the mechanics worked, the sort of little nuances that were in the game itself. I had the pleasure of being able to play this game, and I had fun doing it. I mean, it pissed me off.
Yeah.
But I liked it though. I would. And I would definitely, this is something that I would recommend to people that I know would like something like this. Absolutely. So it was cool.
Absolutely.
This
it was
is one
cool,
of
but
those...
it was also hateful at the same time. Like, this game hated me.
Yeah, I definitely was screaming expletives every time I died, and then immediately pressing play again, because like you want to get through that next part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you get so close sometimes, because you're like, oh, like you think you've got it figured out, so then you're like, you're just going to play through it, and if I got this, and then you're just,
Yeah.
For me, I had 5 minutes, 38 kills of people I killed, and then 22 times I died. One of the things about these type of games, like, it's extremely, it's meant to be repetitively played, and for you to sort of remember certain patterns that happen. But it's funny, because I was in the man cave or whatever. My wife, all she said she heard was, freak, what the freak? Just curse it. Just curse it. It's funny because like these type of games, ironically, like I'm not playing it to beat it. I'm playing it to forget about the guy who cut me off in traffic early this morning, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so these games are very stress relieving. Even though I'm cursing a lot, these type of games are very stress relieving because the idea is that you forget about everything else. Like I got sucked into this game in the first 5 minutes. Like I said, I died 22 times, and I can remember every last time I died of those 22 times in 5 minutes, you know? And so, of course, I kept playing it. I'm going to be honest with you. I was on the easy mode, and I couldn't get past the train.
Yeah, it will test your patience.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel I definitely played it on easy mode. I was, and we should say for those watching, if you beat it on easy mode, you get an ending, although there's a final ending, we should say, that is Derivative can attest to as the one who beat it on easy and normal, that I think is really satisfying.
Well, you guys are gonna have to spoil it for me later because I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to reach the real ending.
No, Derivative is the one who got it on normal. I'm gonna have to replay it.
Just tell me.
Sure.
Tell me what it is. It's okay. I'm okay.
We got some awesome comments here. I'll read, and then I want to hear Layla's thoughts on this. Cammy saying Dridge is the gamerest of all gamers. I feel you. Derivative, I think, has definitely dropped the mic on this one. He did his thing for sure. Mystic saying the achievements are funny because you get them from dying. Yeah, and you know, I actually got a really cool achievement on the motorcycle level where I killed like a past version of myself, which was like. Anyway, that kind of fits in with the final ending, which I think is really cool. We can get into that. Dark Saboba's asking, what's the most horrific death of them all? Like, what do you guys...
I got one right here, and I said it on the call previously.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing. When you play the game, you want to move exactly, because if you actually stay in the spot that you're in, there's a guy already pointing a gun at you, and you would die in the first second to 2 seconds of the game. So the worst death is not even knowing when the game starts because you die in the first 2 seconds.
Yeah, the game does not like let you take a break. Like, just so everybody's clear, like you're watching this, what you're seeing is what you're gonna get. Like, you're getting like a lightning fast game that switches.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of something that you would play in an arcade. You know what I mean? That was totally the feeling that I got. This is an absolutely, like, this is where you go with your cup of quarters or your tokens. So like, bitch, I got you. You know, like, I'm gonna do this. Like, this is where you're like, there's a line forming behind you because you're like, no, you know, like I could totally see myself with the joystick mashing buttons.
Absolutely.
Like, it was just that feeling of it. The graphics are great. I mean,
I love it.
I've become a fan of sort of like the pixelated graphics. I never used to really like it, you know, especially because nowadays, like I was just, you know, we're spoiled when it comes to graphics nowadays, to be honest. But it was like total arcade. Like I could see people, boys. No offense, I know I probably shouldn't be gender specific, but I could see a lot of like just little boys like anger raging. You know, and I've been to COD tournaments. I know what that's like. I've seen
like that.
Scary.
This is a game for a man to crack open a cold beer and just kick back.
I've never said the F word more times playing this game. But it's crazy because as soon as I got done playing it, like I said, I was just completely stress relieved. I was just completely relaxed. Like all the fucks was out. So like,
we need to clip that. That's a great endorsement. That needs to be to the Game Chuck team. That's a great endorsement right there. I've never said that many fucks that many times. But enjoyed it.
Did it help with your rage, Layla?
Yeah, Layla.
Some tension, some
what were your thoughts?
Y'all know that did not happen. just my gaming style, you guys know pretty much. That's what I love, like getting together and talking about it because we kind of all know what our gaming styles are. I'm bad at puzzles, obviously, and then this stuff I play for like 5 minutes. Fall Guys. Friggin', what's the other one? The Super Hexagon. Anything where you die repetitively.
Yeah.
Like it's like the point. It's like the point of the game is to die, and I'm just like, I don't want to anymore. Yeah. Like I'm tired. I hate that I die whenever I'm playing because I feel like I'm, you know, losing constantly over and over again. I'm just like, I suck. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm torturing myself. Why am I torturing myself over and over? But
Uh-oh.
Oh, GameStop.
GameStop, shit.
They heard her talking shit.
Yeah.
They jinxed her.
Am I back yet?
You're back.
There you are.
You're back.
Okay, like, GameStop. It's been years. Let the grudge go.
We need to look at like the GameStop stocks and when Layla freezes and see if there's any sort of correlation
Any
there.
correlation to it?
I'm gonna go ahead and say there is. But Layla, yeah, keep going.
But yeah, so that definitely has opposite effect for me. It's not therapeutic at all. I rage the entire time and I get so frustrated. I just like Tony, I didn't make it off the train. I was like, I'm just gonna stand here and just watch myself get shot because I can't get past.
You guys gotta keep going with it. Like you got,
Yeah.
Layla, I think this would be a great one for you to stream. Honestly, like you need to
Okay.
stream this. I think it's gonna just keep challenging yourself to push forward. And it's one of those games where the whole game, we should say, is overall a short game. Like it's overall a short game, but it's like as Tony and Dirge have said, like, you know, you're going to want to play this multiple times. You're going to learn from kind of the mistakes as you go. I had such a blast with this one. Like, I feel like
I
after
made
the
it
stream,
far enough.
Yeah.
I made it far enough to get an achievement.
There you go.
Like, so, you know, I felt good about that, and then I got off. I was like, I got something. But it was the very first part, Tony, and it where the guy comes up on you, and then there's another guy. So you have to like do this double jump thing to dodge all 3 bullets. And I was just like, I can't. I don't know. I can't get out of it. So I could not get the combination down correctly.
Yeah.
There was on the train. There was some weird. I only played up the train, so I ain't spoiling nothing. But like at a certain point, you get to a point where there's people on the roof of the train.
Yeah.
And they can somehow have a super gun that can shoot through the roof of the train and diagonal. So they're shooting.
You can do the same.
Yeah. I didn't know that. But yeah, definitely there's some instances in the game that that are definitely interesting and fun. Like I said, I'm looking at the trailer and I'm like, wow, I honestly didn't know all of this was in that game, you know?
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is when you get to, like, for example, the driving parts, when you're on a motorcycle and in the car, is then you can actually use the second stick if you're playing it on controller, which I know, Tony, you had to have been playing controller. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You could also hold a button so that you can stationary kind of move around and shoot in place. But I actually enjoyed playing with the second stick so that I can control driving and shooting, and just it was so cool to like hit the other motorcycles and just crash. And as you guys were saying, the death animations are really satisfying too.
Oh yeah. Hey, we never disclaimed this. Obviously we know Derivative beat it, but Game Master, did you beat the game?
I did beat the game. I beat it on easy.
Okay,
I'm going to be going through on normal. I'm going to
Wait, Derivative, you beat it on normal?
Yes.
I beat it on normal, yeah.
Oh my
crap.
God.
Let him know, Derivative. Let him know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want an idea of like kind of how long this game takes, my first playthrough of easy took about 48 minutes, and my normal difficulty one took an hour 16.
Oh,
Which is still impressive. Like, all of that is super impressive, to be honest. And and as we said, like, this game is quite replayable in the way that you're going to want to see if you can beat those scores, beat those times, get like the full, I guess, true ending, if you will, by playing it and beating the whole thing in normal. There's a lot. I see I was trolling Mike in our group chat. What's that about, Legend? I think you're on mute. Legend, you're on. We can't hear you. Hey, thank you so much.
In our group chat because you are always the guy who's like, well, I beat this game in like 2 seconds. Like, I have top score.
Yeah.
I killed like all the guys and the secret boss and made it to the secret room.
I do tend to humble brag.
I have to admit that my ego was like a little okay when you were like, no, I suck at this game, and I was like,
wait a second. It's a spectrum. I'm not gonna go and say I suck at the game. I'm not doing.
I'm sorry. You didn't suck at the game, but you didn't perform as well as you would have hoped in other challenges such as this one.
Dude, one thing I
take to kindly to questioning my performance.
Did anybody notice that it had boss level music the entire fucking game?
Yeah,
Like,
it was
that's-
intense.
The music is so freaking intense. It's boss level music the entire game.
Yeah, you were
Oh my
absolutely
God.
right
But this,
about that.
I mean, it was a joy to play. It was fun. Like, again, it's a probably. I mean, I would stream this. I would just like for you guys. I don't know, honestly, if I would to be, because my community would troll the shit out of me. But, I mean, it's a fun game. It's not something that I would probably play on a regular basis, to be honest. But it was cool to have the opportunity to be able to play something like this, which is something that I don't normally. I don't usually play games like these. I think something that was like a little similar was a Rage in Peace. That's another really good sort of fast-paced game where you have to memorize sort of the certain patterns of things, and if you die, then you repeat. It's a beautiful story, actually, but. It kind of reminded me like that because it was so fast paced, but like this game was like, game was hard. It was hard.
I actually think you'll enjoy it.
Derivative sort of beat you in the whole like
yes, for sure,
top level thing, didn't you?
Yes, for sure. No, Derivative did his thing, no doubt about it. But Legend, I think, and you just love that. Everybody loves it to see the king fall. Say it, Derivative. Say that again.
I just couldn't let the game beat me. That was really the thing.
Yeah. And Legend, I think that's why it'll be ultimately awesome for you to stream this too, because it's like it's one of those games that's like easy to kind of like watch on the side because there's a lot going on, but also like not a lot. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it kind of reminds me of the action movies of this time where you can kind of like zone, like kind of like lose yourself into, and like without little distractions you like know exactly what it's trying to be. And also just like watching somebody play this, like my son would come in and watch me, and he'd see me die repeatedly at this part, then I'd finally get past it. It would be like one of those big moments where it's like, okay, you finally
those moments do so
and
good.
you probably learned some new words.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those moments are gems you should treasure, especially in games like this. Those are moments, happy moments, yes.
For sure. Yeah, it's funny, Derivative, you mentioned that. So like I didn't actually, believe it or not, there was a time where yours truly like actually swore off cussing for a period. And then after I had children, things changed. And, but my daughter is like the sweetest. She'll come into the room and be like, Dad, Jan, my son, he said the S word. And I'm like, oh, what is that going to be? And I'm like, what is the S word? And she won't even repeat it. She's that hardcore about like, sticking to it. It turned out, I think the S word was like stupid that he said. It's like stupid and shut up are the S words for her. And hate, the H word. You can't say hate as well. So they know, my daughter knows that the games that will get me raging are things like Tetris. If you put me in front of Tetris and Dr. Mario or Mrs. Pac-Man,
Dr. Mario is rough.
Dr. Mario was rough.
You're going to see my full vocabulary on display for sure. Love to know in the chat if any of you have a game in particular that brings that out of you. And for you guys, I mean, outside of this, is there any particular games that just like you
Mario
find...
Kart.
Mario Kart? You turn into a different person?
Oh.
It's just those damn green and red shells, right?
That's a game that'll get me to swear because, the blue shells are just so unfair. Like, it just punishes you for being good.
Yeah. I have a feeling for Layla, it's any game, actually. I'm not sure if it's...
I was literally
waiting.
I literally raged playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Like, if I get one more sea bass, I swear! Like, that's me. Like, I rage at everything. So I don't know, I'm just impatient.
I think it's called 1,000 Spikes. Man,
yes.
that game is the devil. Like, seriously.
Yes. No, that is hardcore for sure.
Yeah.
Legend, how about you? I'm trying to think of you. I mean, you might have a few choice words here and there for stuff, and I'm trying to think if there's anything that you've like just completely went off on.
Okay, there's this indie game that I played. I have to open my Steam now and get it because I don't remember the name, but I hated it. It was this. I hated it. Like I hated that game. It was so dumb. It was a roguelite. And I think that's what like caused me to hate roguelites in the first place was this game because I just kept dying and I couldn't understand. And everything I did, I was so mad. It is, oh my gosh, what was it? Oh, I'm looking through my thing, but it made me so mad. I've never touched it. And yeah, so now every time like I play a roguelite, it brings back bad memories because I'm just like, oh, please don't be like that game. Because I don't mind having to die and go back to the beginning of a level. I don't, but I don't want to have to go all the way back to the beginning of the game. Like if I made it to level 5, just keep me level 5. Just keep me there.
Yeah, or at least
I don't want to go back. Please don't make me go back.
You prefer having some level of permanence. I know you're more a fan of the roguelite aspect, where at least you can your achievements can transfer over in some way to your next
right
game.
Like if I have to lose everything, then that's fine, but if you have to bring me back all the way to level 1 and I have to start and there's no like achievement for it, there isn't a reason or a rhyme for it, like I can't, like it's just the stupidest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life, and I will never ever play this game again. I'm literally going through trying to see, like, it's been so long, but I can't. I hated it. It was awful. It was like Bugs Must Die or something. It was that one, or it was something else too. If that wasn't it, that was also a stupid game I played.
I see in the chat, Mystic Tightness is saying Getting Over It. I'm assuming that's the Bennett Foddy game, if you're familiar with that one. Bennett Foddy, of course, is very... he's probably got that effect for a lot of people with games like QWOP and whatnot, but definitely check out Getting Over It if you haven't. Mystic, I actually remember watching you play that. Yeah, it's quite a challenge. His Bennett Foddy's games are about like operating different limbs and like how difficult it is to do like the most basic tasks. So that's definitely that's definitely hardcore. I see Winter Soul's in the building. Hey, Winter Soul, glad you can join us. This game's hardcore, but I think I highly recommend it. I think everybody should check it out. If you watch the trailer and you think that's something you're into, I think that's pretty clear indication. If this looks cool to you, it is what it looks like in the trailer.
It's hardcore, but it's not obviously.
It's not impossible.
Yeah. So you can learn patterns. You're just gonna keep playing it for a very long time. But they're definitely I don't want to say it's forgiving because it is definitely punishing, but at the same time, it's not impossible.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see this in the speedrunning community because I feel like this will be super sick to watch. To watch somebody like
their statistics area has it like letting you know what your pace was. And things like that. So.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah,
for sure. Oh,
you know what also made me mad was case animatronics because I got chased by a metal animatronic thing and like I died and it killed me and I screamed really loud. It was awful.
I feel ya.
It was awful.
Winter Soul, just to clarify, Legend wasn't going in on this game. She's talking about other ones. Just
I'm talking about other ones. I know. I like this game. I did like it. If I didn't like, I would have said something, to that effect. But it isn't games that it isn't a type of game that I commonly play. But it was good. Yeah, no, I loved it. The graphics were dope. Like I said, it's totally like you're playing in an arcade. Like I could have totally Capcom this bitch. Like I would have done it.
I'm actually kind of surprised that there aren't more games like this. Honestly, like we've had all sorts of like games that try to capture this 80s action style, but this game just like full on embraces it in a way that's like it's just pretty brilliant to me in that sense. That it's just like they went straight up for like all the coolest like set pieces that we love in these types of movies and just like linking them and weaving them together and like cranking the volume to 11 or whatever and like really taking things up a notch. So
it's kind of like that mindset of you think of like the old Nintendo hard games.
Yeah,
where like yes they were 40 minutes long, but you got a lot out of them because you would play them over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, unfortunately, people see a 40-minute game and they're like, I want this game for free or $5.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate thing, but yeah, this game has a lot of replayability.
For sure.
Yeah.
Even though my normal playthrough was just over an hour, I'm definitely going to play it more.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to play this further and try to perfect and try to get a score that Legend won't make fun of me for. That's my next goal right there for sure.
It's like if I ever get pissed off at work, I have two options: go into a room and scream fudge, 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 or just play this game.
There you go. That's another endorsement there. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, that was Speed Limit. Again, it is on. It is available right now. It just was released last week on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Thank you so much to the developers GameChuck and the publishers Chorus Worldwide. Appreciate y'all providing us with a key and also for providing us with an extra key for this giveaway that we will still be giving out to one lucky winner here who is participating in the chat. We are going to choose amongst the best comments and randomize who gets it. So be on the lookout for that. I see a couple comments here. Nomad, what's going on, Xavier, saying, was the movie series Speed with Keanu Reeves one of those movie inspirations? Totally.
That's what I thought. That's
Yes.
what I thought.
Absolutely.
That's what I thought, yeah.
It had
That's
to
what I
have
thought.
been, right? I know the team
Yeah.
is out of Croatia, but they seem to be, like, very aware of American, like, insane action movie.
80s action, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it definitely has that strong feeling. So again, that was Speed Limit. Make sure to check it out. You can play a demo on Steam right now, so make sure to check that
Always
out.
play a demo if there's a demo available. Always, always, always.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. Get a taste for what you're going to be playing. Awesome. We're going to move on over to our second of 4 games. We should say that outside of Speed Limit, we're also going to be talking about Self, Marie's Room, and Friday Night Funkin', which, we tend to play the games that tend to be a little bit more overlooked, but if you have children or the internet and YouTube, then you know that Friday Night Funkin' has taken over. My daughter is, I think, watching some of it right now. So let's actually, before we get into Marie's Room and Friday Night Funkin', let's actually go on over to Self. Let me jump and change this description real quick. I don't know if this one has a... It looks like it does have a game here. Let me update it on Twitch and Facebook real quick. Okay, so let me read the description for Self, which you can find available right now on... let me turn that sound right. Which is available on itch. Self is a short game about a lost soul. Recover the fragments of yourself. Be touched by the higher being. And this is developed, we should say, by Matt, which I think is in the chat. I think, hey, now I recognize your name there, Matt. Hopefully you're still in the chat here. Looking forward to talking about your game here. Matt did the design and art. Dev Dwarf did programming. And Connor Grail, who I recognize in the chat as well, did the sound and music. So super excited to have you in here. Please feel free to jump in whenever you can. We have a playthrough here that was recorded by the folks over at 5MG. Hey, we see Connor there. Thank you. And Dev Dwarf, hey, appreciate y'all. Let's clap it up. We always love when devs come through. We always love discussing your games. I'm always on the lurk, as many of you know. I have that, like, G Fuel fiended, like, digging in crates feeling where I'm always trying to find the newest, hottest, coolest thing. And I absolutely loved Self. I think this is such a cool game.
Yeah.
I know they're talking about expanding this game. Please do. Please do. This is such a really cool concept. I have a lot more to say, but let me throw it out to you. Layla, you haven't talked enough today. You need to jump in here. Assert yourself. Let us know. What did you think about Self?
I freaking loved it. It reminded me of what was the game that we played with the robot where you throw its head?
Yeah,
like, to get where you're going.
Electric Head, Elec Head,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it reminded me of that
It did.
game, and I love those types of games. I will say, because those are small puzzles I can do. And like Legend was saying, is that it takes you right back. Like when you die, it takes you right back to where you're at, so you can try right again. Like you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. So I definitely loved that about it. And these games always remind me of Celeste. It makes me want to go back and play it.
Yeah.
But I did love it. I really enjoyed it. It was actually one of my favorite ones that we did this week.
Yeah, Layla, can you go into a bit more detail about like the actual like soul mechanic? Because I think that's what makes this game so interesting. So like folks who are watching the playthrough right there, like what are you doing like as a player, and how are you controlling your movement?
Okay, so I did it on the controller. I used the controller instead of okay, just making sure. So whenever you're going through, I guess you can see the demo. You're jumping, or the trailer. You use to like jump, or I have the Xbox controller, and you use the trigger to actually project yourself farther, to angle yourself to where you actually need to go. And you can't clear the stage until you hit all those little orbs that are going through. Then you start getting into more obstacles as you go, and it becomes a little more difficult. But the objective is to get hit all the orbs to get to the next stage. Which also makes me think of Witch Orb? The Witch Orb game that we played as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, all those pretty much kind of the same mechanics as well for that. That's what I enjoyed. It wasn't too difficult to catch on to either. Like, I don't ever look at the controls or anything like that. I just like start messing around to see what does what. So it's very friendly in that way, where you can just figure out what. It doesn't take too long to figure out what you need to do without even you just plug it in and play pretty much.
And that's what I think is so nice about games like this too, is that like not only is it intuitive, but then they take that simple concept and they add all these different layers to it, to where they're not necessarily adding they're not adding new like button combinations or anything like that. It's more so what can we do in the environment to allow the player to get more skillful in how they're kind of projecting themselves, they're pushing themselves with the soul. And I thought that was really clever. As you guys saw there was some like kind of electrical effects, things of that nature. So for the rest of y'all, how did y'all think about this game, and what are you kind of, I guess, looking forward to if they hopefully go to a full release?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I really enjoyed a lot of the mechanics of the game. One thing I really liked about this game is that there's definitely multiple ways to skin a cat. So I'm sitting there looking at the playthrough right now on the trailer, and I'm like, man, that is not what I did to beat this game. So I definitely like that. And ultimately, the slingshot of it. Okay, so when I found out that thing it ended up being a little creepy. So, like, it's the person's soul. Like, it reminded me of that movie Haunting of Connecticut or something like that, where the ectoplasm was coming from the person's mouth. No, it feels like it's a really fun game, but now I'm thinking about it, like, man, that is a little creepy for sure. But love the game. That is the soul of the person or whatever you are coming out, and it does sort of have like a slingy mechanic to it. Really cool mechanic, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing additional levels, and additional puzzles.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that there's multiple ways, like I said, to skin a cat. Like I said, now that I know that that's the soul of the character, it's a little creepy for sure, though.
Yeah,
I like that part though. Honestly, it's like your self, like your higher self, trying to get you through the obstacles. If we're gonna go on a deep meaning.
Ooh, take us there, Layla. Take us there.
We are now discussing self, so.
Yes.
Right. Yes, that's also the name, of the game. So it's like I think it's actually just me. I know I think of things in a very deep way, but that's one of the things I did love about it as well, because I can just look at it that way.
Let me know if I'm like way off, even people in the chat. It literally reminded me of that scary movie, Haunting of Connecticut, where like the ectoplasm was coming out of people's mouth.
I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah, I never saw it.
No, I get what you're saying, Tony. I definitely do. You can definitely go that route with it.
But it's also so cute, though. That's the thing here. Like, shout out to on the graphic side of things, because I think this is like a very clear like visual language, so you know exactly what to do. I think oftentimes when we play games, it's easy to like get lost in something as well. And this is like the fact that you know exactly what you're doing and what your objective is and where you need to go. I think is just a testament to like how clean the visuals are and the gameplay is. Derivative Legend, how about y'all? What are your thoughts about this?
This game is very much begging to be speedran. The controls are incredibly tight. The little goopy ghost guy is a joy to play. You could definitely see that there could be different like optimized routes to get through it. The hands kind of confused me a bit. I will say that.
I'm curious about that.
I don't know if it pulled that whole that got him thing, where you do like the thing with your hand and
yeah. Is that
do that all the time? Every shift, no one is safe.
Yeah. I couldn't tell if that was like what was going, or if I'm just an old person who thinks that that's what it is.
Maybe the devs can give us enlighten us a bit if possible. I don't know if they want to save that for the for a final release, but if they are willing to share a little bit about maybe a little bit background knowledge, potentially story, and maybe even a little tidbits on little sneak peek of what type of other gameplay they imagine with a full release, because I'm very curious about that. But yeah, George, do you have more to say on this one? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
As I said, it was just very like you could tell already that like the controls are just optimized. Like I cannot see like how they could be like cleaner, and really like if there was more levels, they don't even add more mechanics, just more levels. To really kind of utilize those mechanics to really challenge you. I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's why I'm really curious to see what directions they could take this, because I think there's some really cool opportunities here. All right, well, Legend's been quiet, and what we tend to do here is if anybody's like too quiet and doesn't give any sort of indication, we try to guess whether they liked it or not. So let's go ahead and do that here.
Legend?
Yeah, Legend's been quiet. So are we going to say that she enjoyed this or not? Because Legend's...
How much did she like it? I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. She liked this movie or game. Sorry.
Legend's a bit of a wild card here. Yeah, Legend. I think she did.
Yeah, I feel like she liked it too, because I feel like she liked the other ones that we played that were like this.
Uh-oh, her face is making me question everything.
Oh, shoot.
All right, Legend.
No, I did like it, actually. Okay. I did like it. I thought it was really cool. Like, honestly, like, it was weird because when I first, when you first pop up on the itch page, it has the hands, of course. So I was waiting for the hands, like, I don't know, the whole game. Like, I was just kind of waiting. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be, like, hands, and you were just, like, and then when the hands came at the end, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, like, I thought it was cool how the hand came out and, like, flicked it. Like, I don't know what's weird. It was like, I don't like a booger or something. Like, I don't know. It was just, like, it was nice when it got to the point. I was just confused because I was a little unsure about where the hands were at, where it was going. It was all about touching your soul and, sort of progressing through the scene. So you could take this in like a linear sense to where you're just, it seemed to be sort of like a type of visual novel almost, but with just puzzle play instead, because you're having to like transverse through all these different obstacles, and the way that your self, I guess, just sort of floats and kind of like goes through to sort of dip and dive to get past this stuff. I thought that was pretty neat. I mean, I don't know, maybe I thought too much about it. I don't know.
I love how our crew were always looking for like the deeper meaning of it all. Mm-hmm. We need to hear from
important because of whether people like mean to or not, there's always something someone takes from your game at all times. Mm-hmm. You could have just been like, bullshit game, made it for 4 hours ago, and people are gonna be like, God, it just really made me think about life.
Yeah.
Like the world
every time.
I love that.
And the devs probably like, no, but okay.
They were just like, it's just an awesome ass mechanic.
Right? It's like, no. They just don't say anything. They're just looking at you like you're weird.
No, there could be
but
more
it was
here.
Cool.
I
thought, like, stuff. Just that was the sense that I got from it. Again, like the hands were I was just waiting for them the whole time. Like I honestly thought by looking at it was just going to be hands and like some ball that you had to like, same concept but more. I don't know. Like it was just weird how I thought it was going to be like that. But that was just, I guess, first impression. I don't know. Because usually when you look at a game, you can get an idea of what it's going to be about sometimes just by like the graphic alone, or at least like what your character is, or what the area is in. There's some sense that you get about it. So that was like the only thing that was weird. But it was cool. I surprisingly liked it. I don't like puzzle games at all for some reason. It could be the easiest puzzle, but my mind is just like, no, it's hard. You can't do it. You just can't do it. But they were easy to figure out, thank God, because I probably would have quit it had the puzzles been really difficult, to be really honest with you, because I just can't, like, I'm I don't want to like use the parent card, but like virtual school and lots of thinking, and there are different grades, and I have lots of stuff I gotta do just for myself and stuff. Like I don't really want to like be stuck on a puzzle late at night when I just want to enjoy a game. Like,
I feel you. I think this one has that kind of satisfying feeling that we kind of discussed with Speed Limit too, where like if once you nail it right, like it feels really good to pull it off.
And I loved floating. The floating was different. Usually you're pew, to the other side. So to be able to sort of
like
to float across,
direction.
I mean, I thought that was when it was sold. That's what I was like. Oh, so that's what that is. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, in that sense, it was almost like a more forgiving Celeste, because you could control like your. I'm gonna call it, Celeste, you had the dash, but this you're controlling like where your dash is with that slowdown or stop or what it was exactly.
Yeah, a good point. Let me jump in here with a few comments. We got Mystic Titanus saying Self was super cute. I loved how we used the soul to assist through the stages, for sure. She also said that the soundtrack is fitting as well. Definitely. Dev Dwarf saying thank you for the kind words. Connor also saying nothing's solid yet, but there should be more answers later. Okay, we got us intrigued. Really excited to hear more about that. Mike Bierman, Death Machine. Always love the name. Always love having you here. Saying, hey, everybody. Hey, glad you can join us here today. Also saying, I know from her streams and her discussing games on here that Angelic Layla always looks deeper into games, and that is awesome. Yeah, I think this crew, we love, like, really unpacking things. We're still decompressing from our visual novel heavy episode from last week and all of that good stuff.
That's why I'm so quiet this episode. I'm still thinking
well,
about that.
I actually streamed like 2 visual novels that were even deeper than the ones that we'd played that I really want to share with you guys.
You'll have to.
So I'll send it to you guys in our chat. I know Layla will definitely like one of them.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was just these games were a nice respite from that, because I was like deep. Like I cried in one of them earlier this week. I was like, I can't do visual novels anymore.
I told you to take care of yourself, Legend. You did the complete opposite.
That's how we tried to do a mix this week. A mix, hopefully folks, because just like we all have diverse opinions and tastes, although we're I think what's awesome about our crew is we're always down to try new things or even genres that we might not actively like. We still push ourselves to try them, which I love. But I definitely thought that this week would be a little fun trying a little bit of mix of different, because we do actually have a visual novel, I would say in the visual novel category coming up. I think that'll be the next game we discuss with Marie's Room. But I'm, it's nice to have a mix of things. So Speed Limit and this game Self kind of both offered, I think, a little bit of that arcadey taste that I really enjoyed. Any last thoughts about Self before we move on to our next game?
I thought Legend said something about the hands.
Yes.
And I swear I thought we were going to fight the hand like on Super Smash.
Yes.
I thought I was going to have to jump on that thing.
Yeah. Oh boy, I have memories of that. Like melee memories of the well, does the hand have a name? I'm trying to
I want to say it does.
I need to yell for my son and find out.
Like Master Hand or something along those lines?
Yeah.
The hand. I never asked its name before I beat it.
Is Winter Soul still in the building, or I'm not sure, but yeah, that's we'll have to grab that reference later. But I dropped it in the chat. I'll do it one more time. Again, this game is available on itch right now. Connor is saying Master Hand and Crazy Hand. Okay, appreciate it. Yeah, in Smash. Awesome. And I'm dropping that link there right now. Go ahead and definitely check this out and show these developers some love. I mean, these are those cool things that when you discover and find on itch, you're just like, man, how cool is it? How awesome is it that there's these devs out here making such high quality work? And really, we'll definitely be following this project and looking forward to a larger release. So again, thank you, Matt, Dev Dwarf, and Connor Grail. Really appreciate y'all coming in through. We appreciate y'all. Let's clap it up for the devs. Please keep in touch with us. Let us know if there's any big milestones. Send us a message. We look forward to talking about more of your work. And actually, I can nerd out here because they are actually responsible for several other games that we've enjoyed playing in the past. So that's something definitely, as you should do with itch, is go through and click through the stuff, and you can see their whole list of different games. Sweet. So that, again, was Self, available on itch.io right now. We're going to be moving on to our third game of the night, which is Marie's Room. I'll bust that out right now. Let me see if there's a Twitch tag for that.
Yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out, bonus points for when you get the game or when you buy the game. It comes in a zip file, and in the zip file it actually has the soundtrack or the album to the game with a photo album or with a picture for the album art.
Really?
And stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
I always appreciate that. You and Xavier, anytime you guys are on, you guys are the ones that always love, and derivative too. You guys like to unpack and dig into it and look at those readme files, soundtracks, all that good stuff. So that's always definitely appreciated there for sure. Perfect. So let's jump over to this next game, which is Marie's Room, which has a whole dev team behind it, but we should say that the primary team goes by Like Charlie. So we'll drop that information here in the chat for everybody to see, and I'll read a description here for everyone. So Marie's Room is a short story exploration game about an unconventional friendship between two classmates. You play as Kelsey, remembering Marie's room as it was 20 years ago, but something's off. What happened to Marie? I'll stop there because there's more of a description. But I think I'll stop it there, so not to jump into it too quick. What are our thoughts about Marie's Room? We should say this game takes around 45 minutes or so potentially to play, give or take, depending on how deep you want to search into things. And the story goes in some really unique directions. What are your thoughts about this, Layla?
I liked it.
That's why I was like, I'm just gonna wait patiently. I'm gonna go after someone else.
Oh.
No, Tony, jump in. Legend and Layla are.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked it. So there's a few qualms with the game that I have, but other than that, overall I pretty much liked it. Essentially, you're going into a room and you're investigating by clicking different items and piecing together certain puzzles together. Once you're in this particular room in the house, you can't exit the room, so the entire scenery of the game is in the room. And you're uncovering the story of the girl who used to live in the room, and you're her friend, and you're uncovering it gets the story of what exactly happened to her. I was able to find some of the puzzles. Like if you pick up certain items and you rotate them, you end up seeing different clues and stuff. Actually, one clue that was really freaking good that I'll spoil a little bit is that if you pick up the movie ticket, on the back of the movie ticket, there's actually a QR code that you can scan with your real phone. And it'll bring you to and it can bring you to I think it brings you to a Bing search or something, or it brings you to a web page. But I think that was really cool.
I thought about that.
But other than that,
awesome.
You're in the room. And you're investigating in this girl's room. You're her friend. You just uncover stuff about her life, her abusive boyfriend, and just other things. But that's pretty much about as far as I got. I did solve some of the puzzles. I was stuck on the suitcase that was underneath her nightstand. That's like a 5-digit code. So I was stuck on that.
Yeah, you got pretty far then, because that is the final puzzle. So.
Yeah.
Oh, really? All right,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said there, you're exploring and listening. It's a lot of environmental storytelling. So you're kind of focusing on different items that kind of draw attention to your relationship with Marie. You're Kelsey, but you're reading through Marie's journal and from her perspective, and so you're getting there's a lot to unpack there. Real quick shout out, Mystic Titan is saying that the atmosphere was lovely and the music was overwhelming. Yeah, and it was pretty cool. You can turn the record player on and off there. there was a lot going on, and I wasn't expecting the story to go in the directions it did. And we should say, if you're new to Indie Game Club, we do go spoiler heavy here, for sure.
And Mike, I would tell you the person's room. I don't know. I think they might be a cat person.
A cat person?
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah.
Well, they definitely were.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because if you go on that computer, you find out the cat went missing, and the ex-boyfriend may be responsible for that.
Yeah. So I mean, we can spoil shit here.
I think we should go into the story. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the password to the this is a little weird, a little funny. All right, so like the password to her computer. So you go to her desk. I think it's a laptop, and it asks for a password. You're like, all right, what the heck the password is? If you go,
maybe we shouldn't say the exact password, just in case people. Maybe we shouldn't say the exact wording of the password. I think we can talk about what it refers to, but maybe not like.
The password's a little weird. All right, so if you go to the doormat, underneath the thing, it shows the password. But the password itself is like sort of weird, and I didn't understand it. Did you guys understand it?
So what happens is when you type in a wrong password, it gives you the password hint that's like it's like a phrase, and you're looking for the end of the phrase, and that's when it makes sense. And if you go through like the journal, and I mean, because if you don't pick up on it like right away, if you go into the journal, it takes anything that was of relevance that you looked around and kind of chronologically does it. And you kind of figure out like the significance of that password through that.
Oh, okay. Because I found it underneath the doormat, and then I got to it. When you click it wrong, it gives you a hint. So that's how I figured it out. But the password itself was sort of weird.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, are you saying that the password itself, like the term, is weird?
Yeah, it's a little weird. The note underneath the doormat was a little weird. I mean, I don't know. Is there a deeper woke meaning to it?
I think so.
Pretty much, yeah.
Layla and Legend, do you want to unpack that for us?
Legend, you can if you want.
I want Layla too. I want Layla too. I think Layla needs to talk about this one. Yeah, I think
It's like a shadow. Oh, I'm not gonna say exactly what it is, but
I think at this point we can just say it. We need to say it.
That's fine.
Well,
yeah,
I can walk around it. It's just kind of like that term is someone who kind of like fades in the background and doesn't really make an impact and doesn't feel seen. They're like in a different realm other than everybody else, and they're not really noticed, but they're just around. So almost like
that's like a term.
On the wall. Yeah, like almost like fly on the wall. But like they're around, but they're not really seen. They're.
I definitely took it literal.
Weird stuff, and she like, cause he even says like she never told her that she didn't want to be her friend in public. So like it just shows like it dances around that.
I think Tony's been playing too much Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I thought that's exactly what it was, man. I thought it was like a Kingdom Hearts reference. I took it literal. I was like, yo, what the heck? Like, what do you mean that you're a blank person? But now you're saying it's figuratively speaking, this is a characterization of a person who might sort of fade in the background.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense now.
Which is something I don't know if it's a man thing or not, hesitant to like go there necessarily, but like I have a little trouble relating to that idea of like looking into the journal and like really like longing to be friends with like a particular person or like that sort of thing. Like I don't think I've ever really had that feeling in a strong way. So that was, I think, kind of interesting, which I know is common. Yeah. What's up, Tony?
What was this game? All right, so that's not bad. So like, what was this game about? No, because apparently I got all the way to the end. I went into the game thinking like, oh shit, man, time to like solve a bunch of puzzles and try to figure stuff. This is like the other games that I didn't like that I like this game. So like I was trying to piece together like the journal.
Yeah.
But what was the story? I know she had an abusive boyfriend. Did she kill herself?
No.
So who wants to go into that? Mystic also says, reminds me of Life is Strange. I definitely get strong Life is Strange vibes here, for sure. Legend, do you want to go into the story itself?
Honestly, no, not really. Like, okay. I really think this is something that you should probably explore yourself. I mean,
Okay.
But it's Indie Game Club. We gotta.
I know what you want to pull from me, but this is one of those games where you're gonna experience it. I don't know, like it's just. Oh.
Well, I can definitely let people know on the call. Like, I just went in trying to solve puzzles and that shit, and apparently I got pretty close to the end, and that was dope. But apparently, like, there's like a deeper story and meaning behind it.
Because there's only
a lot from it too.
2 or so puzzles, I guess, in a formal sense. Kind of the password to the laptop and the passcode to the
case.
Case. So, Legend. Hopefully, you won't get mad at us, but maybe we'll continue going deeper into the story here, if that's okay. Derivative, you want to?
No, it's okay. Sorry, teenager interrupt us. But I loved the room. I loved the graphics. I loved this game because you got to pick up things and like hold them kinda and like look through it. Oh, heat up French, baby. And just sort of like just explore, you know. I love games where you have to like pick things and touch everything. I love touching everything. But to have a memory that good was quite impressive. Because I'm very lucky if I can remember what happened earlier this morning.
Yeah, I feel you.
So for her to kind of go back into her memory and be that detailed, I mean, obviously it's a video game and that's what the game is about. But to have such a vivid memory of someone that you saw your relationship with her a lot different than how she experienced it herself. You know, it was like they were friends, but they were on completely different pages as far as just their relationship as a whole. Like it was interesting, I guess, to see that kind of perspective and being a woman, you know, this is honestly quite common. So I felt like anyone, especially if you're a woman, if you're playing this game, it will definitely just, even for men, honestly, I think there's always sort of like a friendship that you don't want more of, but you know, you think everything is fine and it just isn't, you know, and it's not because you aren't noticing it. It's because this person doesn't really like you enough, honestly, to like show you.
I also think it was like the more layered it went, it also kind of made you feel for the characters too, because you are playing as Kelsey, who Marie, the journal you're reading about, she wanted to be like more friends with you, right? And she kind of sees you as like a cool girl sort of situation, but it's also a unique dynamic because you also find out that you come from a poverty background, and that Kelsey does it, and so like served you food at one point, it looks like, and kind of
it was like a soup kitchen.
Exactly.
I got that portion of it. So when you go onto the laptop and you see pictures, because God knows this lady loves cats. You see a bunch of pictures of cats, and then you see a website like full of like guns. Was there any relation to that, or she just happened to be looking up guns?
There is, but doesn't have to do with shooting cats or anything like that.
or apparently she didn't kill her.
Not the cat went missing.
Well, let's dig into that stuff. You know, I saw Nomad earlier said like, you know, how deep are we going to go? I think this is the game of them all that goes deeper and kind of takes some turns. So, Derivative and Layla, do you guys want to kind of unpack and analyze the story?
I think there's definitely 2 different, just like in anything, there's definitely 2 major ways to look at this. There's actually multiple ways, but I think that.
Uh-oh.
GameStop again.
GameStop.
Someone better check those stocks real quick.
Check those stonks right now.
Check it right now. I was like, somebody look it up.
All right, Layla's back.
All right, but you can look at it from like Marie's point of view, and she's longing for her friend, and she's taking even though Kelsey's acting a certain way towards her, she's still wanting that friendship. And at the same time, Kelsey is also coming from it, like you said, poverty. She's in an abusive relationship. She's being controlled. And that's what I want from the devs. I want Kelsey's side of the story as well, because it's also like I want to know what more. I want to know more about what also happened to Kelsey, because she says that if you get to the end, she says that things aren't how you remember them being. In everybody's perspective, pretty much everyone has their own perspective when something happens. So I'm like, we saw and read how things were for Marie, but Kelsey doesn't actually go into super details about what it was like being with Trevor, other than he was abusive. But it doesn't go into the facts of like she wouldn't even been in that situation had she not clung on, or like there's just a whole nother aspect of that side that could be explored as well, because I don't think that she meant, like she says, for everything to go down the way. I think that it was also her, it's just the situation she was in that kind of needs
Totally
to be shed on, but that's just me personally, how I took it and how I went through this story. It's sad, it definitely is, but there's a lot of ways I think this can go and can be perceived as well.
I think it's really interesting what you said there about like the
But
Kelsey
I'm like way off though. She did not shoot up.
No. Well, there is. Well, let's get into that, because I think we're kind of dancing around it, but for the viewers, just so you want that direct. We can tell you directly kind of a bit what happened here. I will say this, though, in response to what Layla just said. It's interesting you say that, because you are playing from Kelsey's perspective, and everything that you see outside of the journal, when you click on these objects, Kelsey is reciting her like memories of them. So it's interesting, because Layla, I had the same thought, that it's unique that even if it's from the character's perspective, I'm looking at this and I have a thought. You clearly see that the thoughts, the reflections that Kelsey has of these memories don't fully line up with, who Marie thinks this person is and who Kelsey might actually be. And that Kelsey, the protagonist, I guess the person that you play, isn't as potentially innocent as we'd hope or initially assume. So let's go into the nitty gritty. Dredge, if you want to kind of give a little. Can you you're an expert in this. Like, can you give us a breakdown for what happened in the game, and we can kind of analyze it there?
So to kind of start with it, you do learn that their relationship, as in Kelsey and Marie, goes back further than Marie had initially thought. In the fact that the abusive ex-boyfriend, who is also a stalker, by the way, is there's an incident you hear about in the journal through a newspaper article that it was Marie's, was it her father or her father was pretty heinously attacked.
I think stabbed.
To the point where, he was stabbed and like was in very critical condition, and Marie herself was knocked out with like a baseball bat, if I remember correctly.
From a home invasion. From a home invasion, like a burglary, I should say. Yeah.
And as you're kind of going on, you're learning more about it. The abusive ex-boyfriend. You're seeing like he's got. You hear about him on the news, and you're like, there's things on the phone, and there's emails from him. There's specifically an email in there that's like, "I see you" or something like that, and it's a picture of her with her current, I guess you could call him boyfriend. More like a sugar daddy situation. It seemed like.
Yeah.
He's buying her expensive things and things like that.
And that was different than Trevor, right? Just to be clear, like I'm trying to.
Yeah, this was after Trevor.
Okay, gotcha.
From what I understand.
Okay.
So when it comes to the situation with the, I've been trying to like understand this myself. I think Trevor may have been with both of them. Am I wrong with that thought?
No,
like
that
makes
makes
a situation
sense.
like where
That lines up to me.
I'm not sure about that.
I
like
think
she
they.
didn't realize that he was the one who did the home invasion like all those years ago.
That's a big reveal. Shout out
Yeah.
to Madam Funsize. Thank you so much for reading. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining in.
So as you're kind of going through it, you're learning bits and pieces. There's the ex-boyfriend of that. She's been doing like her best to avoid him, even knowing where they live.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, one night, he stalks them, and finds out exactly where they live. And yeah, enters the house without them knowing, and basically you learn that through that home invasion. Because if you remember correctly, there was the near fatal stabbing, and there was the she was knocked unconscious.
Yeah.
That it was actually Kelsey who had knocked her unconscious. They were doing the home invasion together at that time.
She was rolling with her
Yeah,
bad influence boyfriend there.
Okay.
Which is, a big shocker. Like, you're hit after you unlock the case. You're hit with like a really big, like, lot of narration and story. And Kelsey, I don't know if Kelsey, if her memories of this are trying to make it seem, to Layla's point about that phrase about how memories, like, we all remember things differently. Kelsey seems to not. She participated, it sounds like, in this burglary, and it seems like she hit Marie, like, in order to, like,
Silence her.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's silence. You didn't want to hurt her. She just wanted to get her out of the situation, basically.
Yeah.
Like she hit her, and like her full intent was to stay there when the cops got there to make sure that she was okay. But Trevor like grabbed her arm and like forced her out of the house.
Yeah, into the van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Trevor blames Marie.
Yeah, that's where I was confused with the whole them being together, because the whole reason I thought, the way I was reading it, was that Trevor was stalking her because he felt like she was the reason why Kelsey broke up with him.
That's what I thought as
And
well.
blamed
Okay,
her
yeah.
for everything. And so because he couldn't get to Kelsey, or he wanted to blame someone else and blame her, and then kind of like twisted everything up and was really demonic about it, because then whenever he did what he did, or the situation that it ended up being in, he was bringing up all that stuff and twisting up how things were, and just making it to where it was like almost like a distraction because of what was going on.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right with that, because now I'm remembering one of the things that you interact with is a pair of sunglasses, and it was in particularly to cover up like maybe black eyes that he had given her. So that definitely does kind of line up where maybe Kelsey was still with Trevor until basically Marie had convinced her, probably seeing things like how abusive he was, to get out of that situation.
Right, yeah, like with the ripped shirt, because she had the
Yeah.
ripped shirt and everything. So she was there for that, the end of that, and then went the situation. So.
Yeah.
And they definitely, they definitely knew that he was kind of stalking them. He's been sending messages to them, and the cat has gone missing. So that was one of the things that you see, the cat missing thing. And as you're reading through the notebook, you've learned that she's been looking at basically a gun to protect herself.
Right, and during that time, it was when Marie was pointing out the things she was seeing, or the feelings that she felt about like being stalked, and Kelsey was so, in my mind, so relieved of being away from him. She was trying to find the positives in life, and not think about him, and not think about like actually enjoy. So she was negating everything that Marie was saying and didn't believe her. And she even said in the journal that, or she dismissed, was very dismissive of her feelings until she realized that they were true.
Yeah. Darth Sabulba in the chat is asking, is this based on a true story? I don't blame you for thinking that. I don't think it is, but it's possible that it could be. What I've looked,
definitely a lot of the beats would ring true to like actual experiences people may have had, but I personally believe that this was probably a true story.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and so ultimately, I guess, outside of the other major reveal that we find out that, as Derivative said, that Kelsey and Marie have a unbeknownst to Marie, a relationship in the sense that an interaction, a horrible interaction, that she was responsible, partly responsible for burglarizing her home. But then the other kind of major piece to us is that you find that when Trevor is revealing all this information and physically kind of threatening and escalating the situation, that Marie is put in a situation where she does shoot and kill him. And so you read about that in like the next section of the game that I guess does fast forward back 20 years into the present. And the journal's been kind of changed, and it looks like... Actually, the journal, I think, is the same, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I think Marie actually knew. Marie actually hasn't touched it, because she even actually says, like, I know somebody might look at this journal and whatnot. I'm leaving it here. I might come back to you, journal. Yeah. She kind of has that relationship with the journal, like it's like a friend that she's, like, talking to, and that she'll come back to her someday. But she runs off to live with her uncle up north, it mentions. And she does talk about having guilt over, like... I thought that was really real, the way it was like worded. Like she's like has guilt about like why did she shoot him in the head? Why didn't she shoot him in the leg? She feels like a murderer. Like why does she just has a lot of complex feelings about this, and obviously a lot of complex feelings towards Kelsey as well, which I think is really unique. Also, I'll repeat this again because I think it bears worth thinking about further. That the character you play has blood on her hands, so to speak, and is someone who you can kind of see like seems like a decent, good person that got wrapped up through this boyfriend into doing some pretty horrible things, which I think is, young people it's imaginable. It happens. That's certainly a true story right there. That happens all the time. People make mistakes in that way. But I think it's interesting, kind of the levels. And I also want to ask you guys, before we move on to our final game, I do want to ask you guys a bit about that whole kind of dynamic that between them, where Kelsey's seen as kind of this cool girl, but she also kind of seems to be a little bit ashamed of this poverty background, which might also be why she's burglarizing places and maybe connected to Trevor. I also get vibes. I got strong vibes from Marie that she might actually romantically like Kelsey. I don't know if I was the only one thinking that, but I really strongly thought, based on the way she talked about how beautiful she was, how much she was kind of like talking about her, that it wasn't strictly... it's never implied that they had necessarily any sort of...
I was sort of getting that too, but definitely very lightly. Not necessarily something that was like a hardcore fact, but definitely something lightly. One of the things that sort of had me thinking was that why was she snooping around in her room? Otherwise, if she had really strong... It just seemed as if, as you uncover things, that she had very strong feelings. I thought, honestly, more than a friend.
I can see that, but when you're going through an experience that they have, you know what I mean? You just have a closer bond with that person because of something that traumatic, And I think that the reason, in my opinion, that she participated in a lot of those behaviors was because, I'm going to say it was dude's fault. Okay. I think she was just as culpable in the choices that she made also. I mean, I don't want to put the blame totally on him, but because there is sort of like a dominant, sort of submissive, sort of
sure, and we see his
mentality in relationships like that. You know what I mean? Especially in abusive relationships, there's always there's always someone who's controlling the situation, and as much as you want to push away and not do it, you feel almost compelled to because you love this person. Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
And they're not bad all the time and all this stuff and that kind of thing. And so I think that was sort of where Kelsey found herself in. And to have this much of a story and this much of... I don't even want to call it a story. To have this much of an effect on just the lives in such a small room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize how such a small space carries so many memories.
Good point.
and can be seen, like, you know, Layla and I could be hanging out, having fun, whatever, girls' night, and then her perception of it, you know, weeks later is going to be completely different than my perception of it. You know, like I don't remember doing that when I was drunk or something weird. You know, and to have that kind of in this sort of situation is it was cool. It was cool. I liked it. You know, the devs sort of put themselves in more than one person, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
How to say it. You know what I mean? It's like they just seem, the stories of each individual was so specific to that character, and for her to be able to tell such an in-depth story in such a small space, you know, was really well done, really good. I'm excited for their own studio. It says that they just started one. I definitely would recommend y'all check it out. This was really, really good. I was really impressed. It was one of those games that just kind of took my breath away, you know?
For those who have played things like Gone Home before, this is very much a similar vibe. I'm going to read a quick comment here, and I know Layla and Tony want to jump in here. Darth Sabulba saying, a lot of your present is rooted in your past. Conscious of it or not, sounds like this digs into that a little. Yeah, very good point, Darth Sabulba. That without playing it, you're kind of hitting the nail on the head of what like one of the core themes is. So I think you definitely would be interested in exploring that further. Tony and Layla, you guys want to jump in here?
Yeah, so I have a very obscure factor, a very obscure thing that I happen to notice. So, majority of the game you actually spend inside the physical room, but on the outside of the room, in the hallway, there are several portraits, pictures, and they're actually moving portraits. So if you sit there long enough, you'll see that the photos are they're not only just lifelike, but they're like really large digital picture frames that shifts through several photos, and I thought that was pretty cool and a really good attention to detail because it helps provide some kind of visibility of how these individuals look like and how you compare to the story in the room. Yeah,
no, I totally feel you on that for sure. Layla, what do you think about all the we have a lot of different elements to discuss there.
To go back to the original thing that was brought up was that it kind of came off as though Marie wanted to be with Kelsey romantically, but I don't think me personally, I don't think that was the case, because when you're someone who feels the way she feels, that she's already stated, because, you know, she looked at Kelsey like, oh, she's popular, she has those beautiful shoes, she is beautiful, and it seems as though like Kelsey hasn't really had any real friends. So she longs. Her mother died at a very young age, so she doesn't have that mother-daughter bond or like that female energy or relationship. She doesn't know. It's just going deeper in that aspect, and craving a female friend is natural for her because it's something that she hasn't really had much experience with. Coming up from this point of view, like coming from what we know in the story. There's not very much mention of anything else. It's always her and her dad, you know, hanging out. So she doesn't really have that female energy around her. And then also to that aspect of Kelsey is Kelsey's mom was an alcoholic, not really around. So she had to fend for her own. So she really also didn't have that. And usually it doesn't say anything about her father either. So like not having that family background would make sense as to why she's clinged on to Trevor and the decisions that she's made. She doesn't really have structure. She has to really parent herself. You know,
it's kind of like they bonded together through their traumas.
Exactly, some bond. Yeah, and that kind of makes sense as to why things kind of ended the way it did. Without, you know, like that's I just look at everything in like certain aspects. I don't think that Kelsey wanted her romantically. She just wanted to feel like a real friendship.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel you.
And
I think
girls,
you're right.
we're just like that anyway. We're just.
I think that might be it too. That it's just like I might be seeing it. You know, when I see like conversations or diary entries about them like being in bed together, like the shoes hitting each other or something like that. To me, it's like it's a different level of intimacy, right? Like, and so I think it's like we were playing missed messages last week. Like, two women. You know, we have different ways, I guess, that are acceptable or maybe even biological of like how we interact with each other, cultural, biological, whatever. That's a whole nother discussion. But I feel you on that, Layla. I think I think that analysis to me seems the strongest.
I think it's a gender thing. You know, for women, we build more intimate relationships with other people that doesn't have anything to do with sexual at all. You know, we like to have that bond. We like to have that intimacy, because to have someone know so much about you, you know, it's nice. You know, just like it would with a partner. You know, it's nice. But for us, it's a different type of love, I guess you could say, or just bond, or just
and vulnerability
and
too, right?
Yeah. And I think that's honestly just society. You're right. It's society. It's gender roles. It's ridiculous. You know, and you know, if a man were to have that type of intimacy with another male, and it not be sexual, people are going to think it's sexual. You know, it's dumb. But I think that, you know, I noticed like in the visual novels that we've played, you guys talking about this game has got me thinking that, you know, visual novels lately are very, you know, LGBTQ AI plus, right? They're very sort of nostalgia when it comes to like death in the families. You know, a lot of visual novels are about that,
right.
but there isn't really enough visual novels about this topic at all, about how you know, people bond differently, how abusive relationships. You know, there's always all these other topics that you know, people want to it's sort of like I want to say sort of like a hushed type of thing. You know, like there are these subjects that we just don't talk about enough, because it's just something that I guess people don't like to discuss with their experiences. But to have games like this, I think, would help open conversations when it comes to, especially, I think, just abusive relationships in general, you know.
That's a good
So
point,
I liked this game a lot. It was really good.
I appreciated the fact that it was subtle in what it was doing. I think for games of this nature, and especially visual novels that tend to be more linear story focusing on rather more dramatic elements, like it's too easy to be kind of on the nose, right? And just reinforce things overall. But a lot of the ambiguity here, or a lot of the things like kind of like Layla, to your point about like reading into it in terms of like, oh, I can see why a person's attracted to this type of personality based on their history, or legend, which you said as far as like the abusive kind of element. Like, you can, reading through all of these entries and exploring all of these items, you start to like, you feel for the folks, you get a deeper understanding of it, and nothing is like that cut and dry, and it's not just like black and white and simple. I honestly feel like I have known a Kelsey and Marie in my life, maybe multiple, like these types of personality types, especially in high school at this age, kind of, I feel like I've definitely known people of this type, and can see why people might be drawn to each other in this way, and also make the choices that they have.
Yeah, I think I definitely would like to see more games like this, like how Legend was saying, because it is a touchy topic that nobody really likes to talk about, you know, and I would like to personally see something about mental abuse. Like, everyone's always like, oh, it's physical abuse, so it's horrible, like, and that's the only thing that's justified, but mental abuse is a whole thing, and I feel like I would love to see a game about that, to be honest.
Yeah. We get some of that here with Trevor and his behavior, but I totally feel you on that. One more thing I wanted to ask you guys. There was this one part of the journal that kind of hit me with sadness for Marie, is that she went in for a hug with Kelsey and was like pushed away, and like in a kind of public way. I guess it was the two couples. I think when they went to go see La La Land, if I got my memory correct. And part of me, I didn't know how to interpret that in terms of whether it was like Kelsey not wanting to be seen with Marie, but then the other part is at the end of the game, you realize that maybe Kelsey she still has this haunting guilt. We should mention that Marie's family takes Kelsey in. Like her dad, who her boyfriend, Trevor, stabbed. Obviously, he didn't know that. He gave Kelsey a key to the house. It's like that much trust. And so I'm sure there's a guilt weighing on Kelsey that she's been fed, taken care of, housed, like so been loved by this family that she's wronged, that it kind of makes me wonder if her reaction to that was kind of like, I don't deserve it, or I'm pushing back against it. Anybody get those vibes?
So with that, I can definitely see that for sure, as a reaction, or just also the fact that because she's in an abusive relationship, touching like her, just going in for affection. I don't think she knows how to really read and understand that very well either. This is me personally thinking that like something unexpected, especially if they weren't on good terms before that, or they weren't really close yet before that. That's something that I would.
I was gonna say, wasn't Trevor at the movie as well? Was the situation?
He
I thought.
was. Yeah.
So maybe it's one of those situations where he's an incredibly jealous person as well.
Yeah.
That even showing somebody else affection that is not him would set him in a rage.
Good point.
That's the vibe I got, honestly. Yeah, that was the vibe that I got because, I mean, I've been in a severely abusive relationship, both physically and mentally, not once but twice. But I mean, when you're young, you know what I mean? It just kind of, that's a whole other story. Sometimes those things just happen, but I've obviously learned and I've grown from that experience and never do it again. And I think that's what it was. That's what the feeling that I got. It was that, she didn't want to show her any type of affection because Trevor's going to get pissed and Trevor's probably going to beat her ass. Like, that's, I mean, I hate to say it like that, but that's definitely just the situation that I think she found herself in.
I agree.
I'm sorry to hear that, Legend.
Now I'm thinking about things. It's like, I know there was the one part with the rock that she like held onto as a reminder. I mean, really thinking about the fact of the home invasion, that while Marie was seeing it as like a reminder of, basically what not to do, to Kelsey, it hurts even more because she knows that she broke into her house and it's a reminder of kind of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we should say for those listening that the rock thing was directly following that, where Kelsey wanted to apologize for her behavior by pushing her off, and she was the classic, throwing rocks at your window to try to get your attention, but she couldn't get her attention, so she throws a big ass rock that breaks the window. And yeah, that's a good point, Derivative, that she keeps it and takes on a different meaning there. We have a comment here that I'd like to unpack a little. Canely, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Really appreciate you. Saying more education on gaslighting and the dark triad could be helpful. I'm familiar with gaslighting. I'm not sure if I know exactly what the dark triad is. Maybe, you guys know me. I'm notoriously bad behind. I lag behind in pop culture references or new terms, I should say.
Sounds like a band to me.
Or a game, for that matter. But
it's a man.
I don't think actually a lot of people know what actually fully what gaslighting is, because I think the term is almost overused.
Gaslighting and the dark triad, that's a band.
I don't think it is, Tony. I don't think that's the context here.
No, you're thinking Gaslight Anthem, I think, is a band.
Oh, okay.
Can somebody unpack what gaslighting is, or does anybody know what dark triad is? I don't know. And maybe
three main personality traits. People have, like, narcissism is one, psychopathy. Like it's different personality traits that people have that include being just very mentally abusive people. So it's just they call it the dark triad because it's three main ones that commonly use gaslighting and mental abuse and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, it just deals with like the psychopathy of a person.
Yeah, I never heard that term before.
Yeah, no, I appreciate y'all teaching us something new. I'm familiar with those terms on their own, but to know that they're kind of bunched together in that way, I mean, it certainly makes sense. That's a hellish combination of sorts. Kane also saying gaslighting is when you deny someone's experience, basically making them doubt their perception of reality, which I think is, I think I'm just going to say, I guess, what's interesting to me about each generation as we move forward is I think we come up with kind of new terminology to open up the conversation to things that maybe our parents and prior generations did not discuss. And so we need more things, just like memes and other things. We need other ways to express and communicate all these things that, like a new language of sorts, as wild as it is. So I appreciate you mentioning that as well, that gaslighting is
I always thought gaslighting was sort of like the definition of like pumping someone up. Like, yo, he's gaslighting this. Well, I mean, that could have been like 10 years ago, but
I think that's part of it.
Hey, yeah, I thought it was like, hey, yo, you're gaslighting that person. It means you're boasting them up, getting their head bigger, or pumping them up or something. That's what I thought.
Gassing someone up. That's just gassing someone up.
Yeah.
But they're kind of related, aren't they? I mean, they're related in the sense
gaslighting is used to manipulate.
Gaslighting
is used to make you think that what you know is not correct, and it's like someone who's gaslighting you will do something, and then you'll like call them out on it, and they'll be like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, very well, and they'll just like make you feel like you're crazy for calling them out on things that they've done. Like, I never said that. I didn't do that. What are you talking about? And they make you question if you're right about what you just saw or what you just experienced. It's like things like that where they use things to just manipulate you and make you feel like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
We have Johnny on Twitch saying that and other terms are still something we do in our generation to each other. Still much for many of us to learn and try not to do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in no way am I saying our generation is immune to that. In fact, I think that's something all generations need to come to terms with. I think it's somewhat of an unfortunate part of the human condition itself.
I think it's because because gaslighting, I can totally see why people would, if you don't know anything really sort of like in that mental health realm, then you would not know these terms. You wouldn't know what gaslighting is. Like, you're just, you would think gaslighting would be like gassing, like you said, like gassing somebody up. I mean, it's so easy to be able to, so you can't just, you have to be, you can't, words. You definitely can't really assume, you know what I mean, what people are trying to say. Just have like a conversation, because what it means to me could mean something completely different to you. So you want to be like, oh my god, just be like, oh well, that's not what I was talking about, but okay, that's cool.
No, good point. If anybody knows of more games that explore that area, I think that's something interesting. I will say, like, one thing that comes to mind is that LARPing, I know that's often live action role playing, if folks are familiar with that term, is oftentimes like people immediately like assume people are throwing foam spells or something at each other. But there's a whole kind of genre called like American freeform LARPing that is really interesting. In fact, in North Carolina, Jason Morningstar over in the Chapel Hill area is kind of one of like the big kind of proponents, or like kind of I don't want to say necessarily founder, but one of the main people here. But I bring it up because there is a game that came out where it's a role-playing game where you all play victims of abuse, and you're having a conversation, but you're in that character. And so it's kind of like a live action role playing game. There's no points. There's no like score or anything. Winning is defined entirely differently. But I have not played it myself, but it's something that I think is interesting because it directly puts you in the shoes of someone who is dealing with these issues and kind of forces you to confront those in a way, which I think is those types of games like intrigue me immensely because I think it's taking gaming in really unique areas. I can find the name on that, but if anybody in the chat has any recommendations in this area, definitely would like to explore that more. Legend, yeah, I see your comments there. It can be very therapeutic if done in a safe space. I think that's important for sure. Any last thoughts on Marie's Room before we move on to our final game of the night? All right. So that was Marie's room. I think I dropped the link in the Twitch, but I'm going to drop it in one more time. This is available on Itch right now. That's right, Itch and Twitch, two separate things, itch.io. Definitely make sure to check it out. Mystic saying, great conversation, great job. Thanks, Mystic, really appreciate you there. Let's jump into the fourth game of the night, which is a lot more positive. A lot more positive here. Let's finish the night in more positive territory with Friday Night Funkin'. This is a game that seems to have taken over. Like it's
taken over.
Yeah, it really has taken over. I'm gonna update real quick the
apparently it was released a little bit ago, but it really blew up because of, I believe it was TikTok was where
Really?
it kind of blew up. Yeah.
Because just the music in there, I didn't know that part. My kids are aware of it, even on like their YouTubers that like play games, that sort of thing for kids. I think Layla, you're our TikTok expert in the panel. Have you been TikToking to Friday Night Funkin'? Is that the?
I have not been TikToking to Friday Night Funkin'. No, I have not. So I didn't know that it was on. I enjoyed this game a lot because it's like it gave me my DDR fix that I haven't been able to do in forever.
Yes.
You know, so I enjoyed it. It's actually one of my favorite ones. And the music is actually really great. You play different stages and stuff. You can change the scene up and whatnot. But I remember there was a point where I was listening to the music and like I switched from keyboard and controller just because I wanted to see which one fit best for me.
Yeah.
But I remember having the controller and there was this one combination where they were rapping and I'm just like, hey, and I was excited.
I got really into the music. I loved it.
The music was good for me. I noticed for like there was like a difficulty spike or it seemed like in mid of the rounds, like it sort of got the hang of it, and then the second wind of the same exact round, all of a sudden they go like hyper beast on me, and I'm like shit. So
I feel you.
But this to me actually was in certain points was a little bit harder than the other was the speed limit. For me.
Yeah, and we should say this has an easy, normal, and hard difficulty, which I think have a subtle effect on the actual the keys themselves, but a big effect on your like kind of meter at the bottom, which determines when.
I played normal, and then I went to easy, and I literally have my notes. Easy was hard as freak, but good music when I was making it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the exact same way. In fact, I'm going to stream this because I feel like your boy is really good at this game, and I feel like I need to. I feel like I need to show these skills. Although then I watch somebody on the internet like expertly go through this on hard mode without missing a note, and then I feel whatever in that case. But I love the music. Love the art style here.
The music was dope.
I know Derivative I see quietly there, and I think this is I want to hear his thoughts about this, but before we get to those, Legend, I think for both Legend and Derivative, let's do an up or down on what they say.
Okay.
I liked it. It gave me the animation gave me very Kids Next Door vibes. It was very
That's a good comparison.
Right? Grounded, yeah, dude, it was good. I liked it. It was fun. I liked it on keyboard. Wasn't too much of a fan of it on controller.
Yeah,
it was hard. Easy was hard.
I agree, Tony.
Normal was hard. Hard was hard. It was really hard. Yeah, it was all really challenging, but it was fun though because you were right. Once you got the hang of it though, you were really grooving and shit. It was good. I liked it. It was really fun to play in the mix of all the other games that we had this week. It was dope. It was great.
Did it have controller support?
Well, I didn't try, but according to Legend and Layla, it does. I went straight keyboard on this one for sure.
There's no way in hell I can imagine doing this on a controller.
I did it on the controller because whenever I used to have my DDR pads.
Yeah.
On my, and then it broke one time, and I was waiting to go to GameStop to get a new pad, and I literally I would just play it on my controller. So that's why it was more comfortable for me because I've
Oh,
played it with the
so-
controller before,
Yeah.
just
Oh, okay.
waiting for a new pad. But it's actually not too bad. But it is definitely better on the keyboard because you can just keep your finger placement there. I would actually like to. I think we talked about this before, but I want to hook up a pad to it and
For
see
sure.
if I could do that. And I really would enjoy that, honestly.
Yeah, this game is begging.
We're like-
There was another
dancing
game of the
over there.
Tango game you wanted to hook your pad up to, right? To that one as well. It was like another game that we played. I think you were talking about doing that too.
Yeah,
The
there's.
one where it was
I
like the
was
Tango.
Yeah, that
Yes,
was the one.
that one.
El Tango de la Muerte. Yeah, that would be a really solid one for to use on a pad as well.
I'm gonna put this out there. People who can see the actual screen, there's like a video that's being showed in the bottom right hand corner. Yeah, that's easy. That's easy mode, most likely.
Man,
Yeah.
I used to play expert on DDR.
Ooh.
So I was like, I really want
to get into that because I definitely have memories of my high school self and my next door neighbor going to our malls and trying to impress the ladies with our DDR and pump it up skills. Not sure how much that worked, but definitely made a valiant effort. But before we do that and get to some of these comments, let's figure out whether Derivative likes this or not. And I'm gonna give Derivative one of these.
I'm not. He didn't like it.
And my explanation is primarily because I think this is starting to get like too indie cool, and I think Derivative's like, nah, like it's gotta.
Yo, like what was that other game? The Cat Daddy or the something the Dab Daddy. That was good. This shit's hard, but that one was not. It was good.
That would be good on a pad too. That's a good point. That would be good. So where do we see Derivative on this one? I
want to say he didn't like it, man. For sure.
Layla, Legend, where do you think Derivative's on this one?
Think like it.
No? Legend?
I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna say he did. I'm gonna say he liked it. Yeah.
Okay, Derivative.
Okay, I did not like this at all.
At all.
I will give it 1 point.
Out of what?
And
out of how many points?
No, I will give it one positive thing to this.
Yeah.
It was very nostalgic to me. I will give it that. Because I remember through, middle school, high school, being one of those people who would just hang out on Newgrounds.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
One of the, I'm trying to remember, it's like the fourth boss in that game is Pico from Newgrounds. So it was like basically the mascot of Newgrounds.
Yeah.
The issue I had with the game is that it felt very shallow, like a Newgrounds game back then. Like the fact that it tried to claim, like I saw it said you had your free play mode and you had story mode. Don't say it's a story mode. There was no story.
Yes, there was.
There was no story.
There was a story. Yes, there's a story.
About what? Like, about what? What was the story?
I mean, I think actually the most dose of the story you get is actually from the trailer for this game, which I was tempted to show. But, so the whole thing, let me just give the story and I'll turn it back over to you, Derivative, as you're trying to impress your girlfriend. And the people that you're having to, like, kind of battle for their respect are, like, her parents. So, like, that, like, Frankenstein-looking guy at the beginning, that's actually her ex-rockstar dad that you're trying to impress. And the other lady in a similar dress is her mom. And I assume these other people are kind of, like, Scott Pilgrim-esque, like, former lovers sort of situation. And so you're battling your way through it. So that actually, I think, was a positive point, is that unlike those other games that are just, like, self-contained songs, this one felt like, yeah, I'm gonna Scott Pilgrim my way through the situation. And at the end of the game, there is, like, a boss, and you go through that, and it wasn't really in doubt that you were gonna not have win your girlfriend's heart, so to speak, but it's kind of like very old school in that way. Like, we're gonna have a rap dance battle for this woman's heart. Maybe a little outdated in that respect, but that's the deep story for you, Derivative. So I'll toss it back to you.
Yeah.
You want to change your opinion now?
If the story, you had to watch the trailer to get the story, and then you're still gonna call it a story mode.
Ouch!
Damn.
That's fine.
Just call the Street Fighter thing and call it
It was
arcade
like a
mode.
movie with Channing
The numbers
Tatum,
are not
right?
on this chat,
Channing
right?
Tatum.
I heard Chatham Tatum legend.
Yeah, that's what this was.
Magic
it was
Mike?
basically just dancing his way into like her heart. Like that's all it was. With his wife beater on and his baggy jeans.
If we can get 10 people to subscribe right now, I'm gonna do a no. Okay. It's gonna do a strip tease. Magic Mike.
Magic Mike's.
Not Magic Mike.
Yeah. Works on so many levels. But Derivative, come on, like you can't like tell me that like this didn't give you like the strong DDR vibes and like remind you of like, you know, doing your thing on the dance floor.
Yeah, I mean, it did. As I said, it did remind me of DDR. It did remind me of things along those ilk. But it didn't do much else.
The music was good. No?
I will give the music credit, yeah. But I just wasn't vibing with it. Exactly.
I feel you, and that's, you know, I totally feel you. All different views there.
And I might have been a little sick of the music from like the kids' YouTube things. I'm like, I've heard this song like 700 times.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I think the music is a lot more fun when you're playing it because it has like a sort of thing where it's just like, how do you describe like the kind of like, you know, like recorder style, like you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when people like the way they like talk in the game, it's like
made me think of Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
like Animalese.
Yeah, exactly.
It made me think of Animal Crossing. I was like, I want this, but with the Animal Crossing characters. I want all
Yeah, that would actually be cool. I like that for sure. Derivative, they've been modding the game. Maybe some of the mods you'll enjoy, but if not, I totally feel
possible, yeah.
I totally feel you. Any other feedback on this one? I know Legend. I see they're saying like the Simlish. Yeah, that's a good comparison there as well. Mystic saying the last week was pretty funny. Yeah, I enjoyed the last week where it's like you're fighting this like preppy boy for the woman's heart, and it's all like pixelated look, and I thought that was pretty cool. I think also there was a reference to like the backgrounds I really liked. Like the train would pass by, or hair would change, or like the kind of the dancers, the early '90s looking dancers in the background, the New Jack Swing sort of look. I thought there was some cool stuff here for sure. So any memories? Does anybody have any memories of like actually like DDR Pump It? Was anybody also a Pump It Up fan? Like I might have been. Like I was also the contrarian at that time.
Like the song from Joe Budden, like pump 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 it up.
that too. No. This I still remember that because sometimes when people say Joe Biden, I think Joe Biden and can't help but think of that song for sure. But no, Pump It Up was like the Korean
Was that the one with the diagonal ones?
Yeah, it had 5 buttons, diagonal and center. And I actually want to say, this may be controversial, I actually think Pump It Up might have had better music, and this was like pre-K-pop, like being explosive in the way it is now. But I also thought it was more natural to like dance like with the corners and the center. You know, I don't know. Yeah. So that was me. So
I definitely played both.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
I played the Pump It Up version after, because I never had access to those. I always had access to like the DDR because my grandparents did bowling every week.
Nice.
So we'd always go there. But round one is actually here in Arlington. There's a round one, and they have those there. So that's when I like started experiencing it there. It's really not that bad to translate though. Like when you're used to doing the DDR, it's not too bad to translate to the diagonal in the center. It's still just as fun, and if you're doing it, it's easy to do to catch on to the diagonal. But I definitely was always at the bowling alley with like doing DDR, like being everybody in line and everybody like just watching and stuff. So I definitely get it. That's why I took it home.
Yeah,
I had to go get my own for the house, you know. So.
So I'm not the only one who has these memories that may be embarrassing in the past of like, again, my neighbor and I would like coordinate a dance and like take it to the mall and just like, and we, you know, at the time it was like new and like Derigidov's just laughing in his head. He's just like, oh boy. Oh boy.
I had the
picturing Mike as some blinking boy.
I would like roll. Yeah. I would just roll in.
Mark dance.
I was, oh yeah, I'm sure it was so embarrassing, but we got a crowd. I don't know if they were laughing with us or for us or what they were doing, but we definitely like came in and we're like, you know, just put our quarters in and we're like, yeah, can we play next? And then we do like a coordinate. We had our whole thing, our routines where we would like jump between each other's pads and we would like hit our knees to the ground to hit the things, like spin over each other, use the bars. Yeah, and somehow my wife still decided to go out with me. Actually, one of our first dates was at Concord Mills, which was through that arcade. If anybody remembers FYE for I know there's some diehard Charlotteans here that remember FYE there. But yeah, we were definitely deep in it like that. Please tell me in the chat. Please come in desperately and tell me I'm not the only one. I don't want to hear that.
I did it with my sister. So
Okay.
I definitely get it. Like I would always go with my sister. It's definitely something like if you have someone else, it's a lot easier to just go ahead and do your thing. Because yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that too. And I will still go and get on a DDR pad. I don't care how old. Until my body tells me I cannot anymore.
Agreed.
I will continue to play DDR or pump it up or whatever if it's available. So.
For sure. Legend, I see you laughing still. Any you wanna?
I never had these experiences.
I just know it's funny. I never experienced it myself, but I've been witness. I've been witness too.
You've seen these cool guys doing these moves, and we're
So
just like,
you
wow!
I've known
Kinda like
people.
Dave
I've
and
had
Buster's
friends that
outfit.
I've seen things. I've seen things. Yes, the outfits. Yes.
Yeah, I
The
think we even had
jumping,
like a
the
towel
whole,
on the side
like
too.
upper body movements. Yes.
It was
yes.
so
I've
embarrassing.
seen-
I think that was like
I
when,
never partook of it, but
yeah. This was like when You Got Served was like in theaters.
it was big, right? That was when it just came out.
This is so embarrassing to
Channing
talk
Tatum was starting to like do his thing a little bit as the janitor in some dance school. Like it was sort of like around that era where it really started to just kind of like pop off and become popular because dancing was such a big thing.
Yeah.
Like at that stage, you know,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah,
I tell
Oh,
my
that's
children that that's how we used to resolve conflicts back in the day.
that's how
Like,
that.
You have
It
a
is.
bully at school.
Honestly, in some areas, that's how they still do.
You know,
Yeah,
Tony,
like
back in
that
the day,
nowadays.
when we were growing up and somebody, you know, gave you the steak eye, you just like, we're like, yo, let's take it to the street. Let's get our,
So
let's
that
get our
sounds
dance
like some
on.
Just Dance stream.
Let's take it to DDR.
I feel like that's how they would battle.
Tonight, you suckers got served. Okay. No, nobody.
Shit.
I feel like it's like Twitch conventions. It would be like the Just Dance people and like
Yeah.
the DDR people. Like they would just like.
Who are getting physically beat up but
Yo.
enjoy dancing. I love it. All right, we got some people in the chat. Yeah, King of the Nerds, Mike Bierman, Death Machine, Mystic, Kane, like all. I think you hear where I'm coming from. You know, you were one of those people that was dancing or impressed by the person who. I wonder if anybody has like truly like built a relationship off of their DDR skills, or was able to land a date that way.
No, just you.
I think you scared away, Dan.
Just Magic Mike.
Scared away.
Yeah, I totally scared away a lot of women.
The date was about to come to you, but then she like ran away.
Yeah, do y'all remember when people would just like wear sports gear? The worst period of fashion ever, I will still attest to, early 2000s fashion, where everybody was like dressed as if they were going to a sporting event at all times, with like baggy clothes that you could fit your body into each pant leg.
Oh, now it's skinny jeans. Now it's sagging skinny jeans. Like, I don't know what these kids are like. Why? I don't understand. Like, they're skinny jeans. It's different if they're baggy jeans. Like, that's the whole point. You have to sag baggy jeans. But why are you sagging your skinny jeans? I don't understand.
I
don't
think
get it.
that should be a whole nother conversation. We should have this whole Zoomer attack on millennials that I don't appreciate.
Well, it was also, there was also the tracksuit trend.
I wore me some tracksuits.
Right?
My wife
and
can
then you
tell
had to
you.
make that noise when you were walking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was so cool with my little South Pole little suits and things like. Oh God, embarrassing,
North Face.
embarrassing.
No. Yep,
I had
that was a
all
thing.
sorts of things. Ooh, okay.
I'm older than I look.
That's the thing. These trends come back. These trends come back. All these little Zoomers who are like, part must be in the middle. Jeans must be this big. It's like, listen, kid, you're dressed the way we were in the '90s. You know, you're dressed like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and you don't think that we went through all this stuff too?
Oh no, it's funny. My daughter's going through the same. I'm like, girl, we've all been there.
Yeah.
I told her, I'm like, look, this isn't anything new. I know exactly how you want to dress because we've all been there. Like, let me pull some out of my closet that I've kept from when I was a teenager. Like, I have these things. It's okay. We don't need to spend money on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got a couple comments here in the chat. Benzo Cloud. Hey, Benzo. Saying, Mike, what streets were you dancing in? Yeah. The rough streets, the mean streets of Charlotte. I used to jokingly say,
you just got served.
Yeah, exactly. I would jokingly say I lived in the hood because that was the I lived right off of Hood Road in Charlotte.
Hood Road.
There's a Hood Road. Yeah, I lived right off of Hood Road. Northeast Charlotte represent.
Gotcha.
Yes. King of the Nerds saying I missed when FYE was in the spot where Forever 21 is now. True. Yes, Concord Mills. That giant Forever 21 used to be an FYE in an arcade there. Mystic saying yes, LOL. As soon as you saw someone hold the handlebar, they were expert. Oh yeah, gotta use that. Sometimes you can slide through the handlebars too. You could keep it. You could do some really cool moves there. Darts of Bubba saying make your own fashion. King of the Nerds saying us millennials are getting attacked like we attacked the boomers. That is maybe this is karma for our behavior there.
Okay.
Yeah, but they didn't know because they were trying to figure out the internet.
I feel Tony. Can we say this safely?
I'm messing.
No, I think there's. Can we not say definitively that millennials are the best generation? Honestly,
I mean,
can we not?
We are the workforce of what's providing this.
We're all millennials here, right? I think we're all we're all millennials, right? Okay, all right. So I'm not like hurting anybody's feelings here. Huge shout out to
Millennials.
millennials and Matus Gamer Ruo. Sorry, I know I'm butchering that. Thank you so much for following. Really appreciate you. Thanks for the following. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. Please jump in the chat if you can. Last few comments here before we kind of wrap up the conversation on Friday Night Funkin'. We got Johnny on Twitch, or Kane saying doing flips. Yeah, had to do the flips. That was when you were like expert level and you knew folks, they were playing when they came in. The worst thing I'll say about this is when you thought you were cool and then some kids from across town showed up and you're just like, yo, I used to be like, no, I'm serious. Like I used to be good. And then like you had to come over here and like clearly show that you're like much better than me. And it's like, yeah, why you gotta embarrass me like that? Like, stay over there. Like,
he makes it sound like we're like in like New York or something. Like across town is like North Charlotte to South Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like,
this was in Concord.
It's coming from there.
I know this was like in Cabarrus County going there.
Cabarrus County.
Look, man. A long time ago, that shit was cool. Okay. That's how it was in every state. All right.
I'm still holding on to it.
That's what it was. All right, it was everywhere. It wasn't just Charlotte. That's just how we old timers did our business.
That's how we resolved conflict on the dance floor, like civilized people. Unlike these Tide Pod eating Zoomers. Let's see what we got here. We got Johnny saying FYE was the place, along with Celebration Station in South Charlotte, which is still around in a different form, and the occasional movie theater for sure. Miss the old school arcades for sure. Also saying I still have a couple metal pads at my place for PS2 games. Nice. I love those. King of the Nerds saying at least we did not eat Tide Pods. Worst thing we did was the cinnamon challenge. You are right, King of the Nerds. Absolutely.
That's pretty dumb.
Kane saying we're getting it from all sides. Y'all remember when the media was coming after us? For sure. Yeah, I think we're more of a millennial bunch. I do want to hear, if we do have any non-millennials in the chat, please come to the defense of your generation. Definitely want to hear that for sure. Mystic saying she needs the metal pad. Kane agreeing. Georgia saying when Pog was a game and not a champ. I do remember Pogs for sure. Mystic also saying tired of the cheap one that sticks to your feet or you sliding across the room. Yeah, it was, especially on carpet and whatnot. That would jack up those sensors. Layla knows what I'm talking about. Like,
Yep, for sure. I agree with the metal pad. I still, to this day, if I ever get, they're like, a DDR machine I think it's like $3,000. I know that because I still want one.
I want one too.
That's gonna be my piggy bank.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want. I just want a big DDR machine in whatever entertainment room that I have.
I
My
feel
big
you.
piggy bank.
I wanted to just buy some, like, build an arcade machine with, and put games like this in it and use the metal pads. I definitely returned me some pads to GameStop for sure after like trying it. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, we were so into these dance games that I definitely got like shitty dance games just to play on the pads. Like, anybody remember the Britney Spears game? Like, we definitely got that.
I can't say I do.
We were playing those, and I even back then I was a total hipster, and I didn't even enjoy any of that stuff. I was so like anti whatever everybody else was. But yeah, we're using those pads and we're playing Britney Spears.
I had the shitty Madcap.
That's what I had.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait, Derivative, you were doing this too?
Just at home. I was never.
Oh no! He's like, just at home in my private.
Yeah, I Darude Sandstone in private.
Oh, okay.
So Derivative and Tony, like, hold on, Legend, like, who all was deeply into this? Like, Tony, you were
I was not.
You were
I
never?
know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Like, I missed that phase in my puberty. I watched you guys, but I didn't participate because I thought that, I'm no offense, I thought it was stupid. Because you guys went hard.
So hard.
Like, that's where you guys go hang out. Where are we gonna meet you? Where's Michael? He's over by dance. Where do you think he is?
He's over there sweating with all of the coats and everything.
I was there to flirt with the boys, because I'm not gonna lie, there were some cute peoples, right? No one was, unattractive, hanging out the arcade. That's what the cool kids did. That's what what you did.
I don't remember this part in sex ed class where it's like, puberty.
But I didn't have my clique come
voice
up
cracking and you start dancing on pads.
You start dancing on a pad. I never did it myself, but definitely when I was at the movie theater and stuff, I was watched, I guess.
I watched. I never participated.
You were the people we performed for.
Because I would see people do what Mike did. They would do dances and moves and be like high fives and shit. And that was when dabbing was. I was just like, what are you doing? Like, we're in the mall, right? Like, I don't see someone coming up and being like, yo, here's my card. Like, because on the Dance Revolution, like,
yo, your dance moves were so amazing. We need you as a background dancer right now. That's what we all thought was gonna happen. We were just like, oh, he saw that shoulder bounce, me biting my bottom lip so hard, and they were like, all right, this guy, this teenager, he's got potential. Okay.
Not that, but I was going like dead serious hard when it came to House of the Dead. Like, I'm not sure if that's like House of the Dead, man. I was sitting there like, yo, this is like a SWAT team, man. It was that, but
you were one of those that was like moving with it. Yeah,
dead serious.
I totally feel you on that for sure. Mike Bierman, Death Machine, saying there was a Britney Spears game. Yes, there was. It was for PlayStation 2. Now that Britney's back. In the headlines, I think that might be a collector's item. I don't think I actually have it anymore. Anyone ever play the GameCube Mario Edition? Yes, Johnny, indeed. That was interesting that they had that specific Nintendo version. Mystic saying, bro, that was really good. The remixes were nice. Mike saying I was busy drinking and playing sports, to be honest. Ouch, that was some shade. I was too busy being cool.
Yeah, and he had like a full freaking beard by the time he was 14 or something.
Yeah, exactly. There were totally those kids at school. I remember that for sure.
Yeah, he is one of those kids.
Yeah, Darth Sebulba is an amazing dancer in real life. Says, knowing how much I love dancing now, I'd give it a shot if it comes back. Yeah, it's still around, Darth Sebulba. I invite you to check out, an arcade if you can spot one with those games in it. They're definitely a lot of fun. I think you definitely like it. Johnny's saying, I was part of I was part of the group crowding the machine. The game made me discover exercise, and I never looked back. That's another positive aspect to it. I definitely
discover
knew some
exercise?
folks. Well, yeah, I knew some people that was a bit of their workout routine for sure. For sure, yeah. Derivative saying DDR is millennial square dancing. It really is. It's so like in place.
Oh, okay, Guitar Hero. I actually was not in Guitar Hero, but
Yeah,
that was big
I was
when I
definitely
was
a
in,
lot
that
more
was
into
big when I was in
Guitar
high
than
school.
I was in DDR.
When I was in high school, that was the big thing. Like my friends used to have a freaking band. Like they used to do rock band with the drums. One person had the freaking tambourine.
Yeah.
The other person had like a guitar or some shit. I mean, it was dope.
I still always was wanting them to do a cowbell for DDR.
Yeah.
Anyone reference? Yes? Someone?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. All right.
I'm a millennial.
I need validation now, please.
Cowbell.
God, I can't wait.
Yeah.
More cowbell. All right.
Oh shit.
All right. Yeah, definitely those types of games, being performative. And I think the cool thing about this game is, like, on some level, like, just being able to show off your skill and, like, do something so fast. It just, like, blows people's minds, I think. You know what I mean? Like, people see this and, like, how are you able to do that? How is your body able to do that? It's just, all right, I think I've done all the performance I can today. I think we're coming towards the end of the show here. But that was Friday Night Funkin'. Overall, positive from the crowd. What do you guys think? Definitely, for me, big positives. Derivative, you can go ahead and say it. Tony and Legend.
Oh, for this particular
Yeah.
I liked it.
Overall, Tony?
Yeah, all right. Overall, yes, but I would definitely tell you guys there's you see it on the screen. There is a difficulty spike for sure.
Yes. Yeah. But it's one of those fun games you can play right now. It's free and you can learn a lot about it. It is coming to Switch, or came to Switch. I have to check on that. I know that's...
I
Hey,
will
what
say
do
I
you
wanted
also
to do
want
the
to-
speed options. Like, until I actually started doing it. Like, I was looking for speed options for it. Because you know how you can, like, compress arrows by changing the speed on, like, DDR?
Yeah,
Or
good
you
point.
can, like, go faster. That's just something that maybe...
I did have a quick
That's a
question.
good point.
In my notes, I say this is a browser game. So what the heck did I download? So like I downloaded the game and played it. Was it also a browser game?
Yes.
I
you
think
can
it's
play it in your browser.
Fluxel based, so it's like sort of Flash.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you can play. Folks can play it in their browser right here. Just to clarify, Bardbastic, I see you in the chat saying cowbell on DDR. The cowbell was a Guitar Hero reference, my friend. I'll have you know. I'm not mixing my rhythm games. And yeah, I'll leave it at that because there's so many. For those who do enjoy rhythm games, I should say I always give a shout out when I can. But MagFest, the Music and Gaming Festival in the Maryland, like it's in the DC area, but in Maryland, it has like so many different type of music games. Not only is the convention games and music happening 24/7, but the arcade is like music game focused. So if you enjoy stuff like this and want to try ever some like crazy cutting edge next gen games that you can only find in like a Japanese arcade, a lot of that stuff is imported and brought to conventions like that. So definitely check that out for sure. Awesome, folks. Well, we appreciate you all in the audience joining us today. Again, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, so appreciate you. Let's clap it up for our audience. We always appreciate you. Whether you're watching live or after the fact, we definitely appreciate you as well. And we will be giving out that copy of Speed Limit, so stay tuned for that. We'll reach out to you after the show for one lucky winner to win a Steam copy of that game. Let's go ahead.
Deathmatch.
Everybody's got to fight. Yeah, we're gonna one gun in the arena, and we're gonna throw. You got a DDR battle. See who's got the sickest moves. We'll see. That's coming up. I love the love from you all. Johnny's saying, great job, guys. Mystic saying, yes, awesome job. King of the Nerds clapping up. You guys are awesome. Love y'all. Seriously. Thanks for subscribing, Johnny. Hey, appreciate you, my friend. Love the positive energy. Let's clap it up. Courtney right there making an appearance. The background music, giving the winks. Thanks, Madam Fun Size. Y'all are awesome. We appreciate you are awesome. Thank you so much. Let's do our outros right here. I'm Michael Zhetkov again, founder and executive director of Potions and Pixels. Definitely check us out on all the social media platforms. We do a lot of other things outside of this, develop games, workforce development projects, everything around using games for social impact. So if you like any of this stuff, definitely check us out for sure. Really appreciate you. If you're not following us right now or liking or smashing the bell and all the cool stuff that you don't know about before I even do, make sure to do that. We appreciate you so much. Let's go on over to the rest of our amazing panel. Derivative, let's start with you. Can you let folks know again who you are and where they can find you? And thanks for following, Kane Lee. Appreciate you so much. Really appreciate you joining the discussion and for that follow. Thank you. All right, Derivative, take it away.
So I'm Derivative. You can find me over at twitch.tv/Derivative. If you like obscure games that are overlooked, underrepresented, some real deep cuts, check me out. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Awesome. Always love watching Derivative, and like he really is on the cutting edge of always finding the newest, coolest games, and like as he said, oftentimes overlooked games that he brings to light. So really appreciate that so much. So join me in clapping it up for Derivative. Thank you, Derivative, as always. Really appreciate you being on the show. Next on this row, we got Angelic Layla. Angelic Layla, can you let folks know again who you are and where they can find you?
Yes, I'm Angelic Layla. You can find me on Twitch at Angelic_Layla. I usually stream Shinobi Strikers, but we're going to be changing that up. I also want to have more recommendations on these visual novels and whatnot. The Legend, I think you were saying that you're going to share some. I want to go back to actually doing more of that and getting to that side, which I did make a new TikTok, or I made a TikTok as well, where you'll find food and some gaming clips and mental health stuff as well as my Instagram and my Snapchat. There's been more diving more into the mental health realm of things. So definitely give me a follow and whatnot. I appreciate you guys. Athena Alliance Goddess as well of Duality, which is pretty fitting, as well as Legend. You can find me there as well, and here on Potions.
Love it. Let's clap it up for Angelic Layla. And as she said, make sure, take a moment. It only takes a second, folks. If you can follow all of our amazing guests. You see them every week. They're doing amazing stuff. Please just take a moment to follow them and show them love on their social media channels and everything. Also, huge shout out to, I see it right here. Thanks, Mystic, for gifting a sub to King of the Nerds. That's very nice of you. Appreciate that very much. Shout out to you both again for being such great participants. Really appreciate you right there for sure. Next we have another Athena Alliance member, Legend of the Star. Legend, can you let folks know again who you are and where they can find you? And I dropped your info right there in the Twitch.
Yeah, so I'm Legend of the Star. I exclusively play a variety of indies on my channel. Most of them have been provided by the publisher or dev themselves, so I pride myself on just giving quality fire indie content. You can find me on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram at Legend of the Star. I usually stream during the week around 10:30 or 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm also a part of the Athena Alliance, so hang out, check us out. We're making moves in Charlotte.
That's for sure. We posted today also the news story that you all were featured on, which was super exciting. The fact that you guys have been doing all sorts of cool stuff, including teaching folks kind of streaming 101 sort of things. So really appreciate everything y'all at the Athena Alliance are doing. So for those who don't know, make sure to follow Athena Alliance as well. Let's clap it up for Legend. Always love having you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Legend. And last but certainly not least, Tony Taiga, which I'm dropping right here in the chat. Let those folks know who you are and where they can find you, my friend.
Hey guys, Tony Taiga is 90. That's actually my name for quite a bit of things on social media as well as in gaming. One of the things I would like to highlight is Xbox Live. So if you guys want to go ahead, and I've actually already in previous meetings or previous calls, I've actually had a few people hit me up and add me on Xbox Live. Again, it's Tony Taiga 90. Go ahead and send me a request and I'll approve it. And of course, like I said, or like I always like to say in my tagline, my name's Tony and I like to play video games.
Love it. One of the friendliest men in gaming, Tony Taganelli. Thank you so much, as always, Tony. So glad to have you back on, too, man. Really appreciate I know you've been gone for a couple weeks here, but really appreciate you. Always love having you here, for sure. Last thing we're going to do, folks, before we leave here is we always raid a channel that we are friends with. I see that our friend the Mage is playing some Among Us right now. If you want to come check that out, we're gonna raid his channel. He always shows us love and loves to raid our show here. So we're gonna go ahead and jump on that. Hopefully I did that right. Yes, jump on that raid as we sign off. Make sure to show him some love, and we appreciate you all so much, and can't wait to see you all soon. Bye, everyone.